Hello. We are your personal fantasy football consigliaries, and this is the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast. The intro song is done, and there goes, and so is Anthony's wearing of the headphones. Done. They are done. They're in the trash, or not in the trash. They're just sitting on the table. Anyways, we got a fun-filled episode. Fun-filled. What are you doing? Oh, you're squishing my head. If you want to watch Tyler squish my head,
I can't reach.
Check out the YouTube portion of the podcast. That's just go to AVG Fantasy Football. Look that up on YouTube. You'll find us there. Yeah. We got a pretty fun episode today. We're doing rookies. We're going over the landing spots. The landing spots of the rookies and our thoughts on those landing spots.
Word.
I'm like the
Summer
doctor.
hot.
I'm the Dr. Seuss of fantasy football. But yeah.
All right.
Let's get right into it, huh,
Get right
Daddy?
to it.
Oh, by the way, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I just really want to know what they think about Chase Claypool going to the Steelers. Well, then you can just go into the
next episode. And
no, you can just go. No, we're doing Chase Claypool.
I was just kidding.
But you just go down. He said no. Just go down into the description down below, and then you can look and see where I timestamped at the point of the podcast where we talked about Chase Claypool, and then you can go and find out that little spot right there. So you just got to go look at those timestamps. It's really helpful navigating through the podcast. But yeah, just want to get that out of the way. Let you guys know that that option is there for you if you don't have time for a full episode. But yeah.
All right.
All right.
I can't wait to hear about Chase Claypool.
Yeah, me too.
Should be good.
It's going to be so informational, dude.
Dude, seriously. Did they decide what they're going to do with him yet? Is he a tight end or
yeah, we don't know.
Fuck it.
But take it away, Tyler. What are we doing today?
Zing.
Zack.
Zigzag.
I feel like we got so many. You guys are all allergied up right now.
Yeah, I'm dying over here. So if I sound like congested or I'm not as talkative, it's because I'm legit dying. My fucking eyes can't stop watering.
He's emotional.
I'm fucking all over the place.
He's emotional.
This list just brings tears to my eyes.
It's truly sad.
But yeah, we're just going to go over the running backs and some of these receivers. Not going to touch on Joe Burrow, Tua, or Jordan Love, and the quarterbacks or the tight ends. There are some pretty decent rookie tight ends that came in, but I think we all know that rookie tight ends don't really tend to make that much of an impact for at least redrafts fantasy football league. So just going to touch on the wide receivers and the running backs. And I guess we could just start off with the first running back that got drafted. He's the only running back that got drafted in the first round.
Yep.
LSU
He barely got drafted.
running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire goes to the Chiefs. Probably the dream scenario.
Oops.
Hello over there, Randy Reid, and your mustache.
No, like I said, T, we know that's your boy. I mean, he is a man, but you were high on him.
Oops.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's kind of interesting. Me and Dre were off there. We're just talking downstairs, and you said that you wanted to tell him what you told me about.
Oh, yeah. Andy Reid actually called Mahomes and was like, who do you want us to take? And he was like, CEH. And he's like, done. And they took him. You can go and actually look it up. It's on the Chiefs, whatever their like football pages, like their beat writer. They put it up there. I want to say today, maybe yesterday, but you can go look it up how they legit just asked him what he wanted, and that's what they did. And then they said it was him, Mahomes, Andy Reid, and then Hunt, I guess a GM. He was like all in on the call when they called him. And they let him know. They let him know. They let him know that that Mahomes picked him, and he was like, "Cool, man, I'm ready to go."
Oh,
yeah, I think that says a lot about him. Like you were saying, T, they care enough about Mahomes to be like, "All right, what do you want? Like, whatever you want." And he's like, "All right, we'll do it. Forget it."
I mean, yeah, if your MVP superstar quarterback says, "Hey, I want this guy," there's obviously a reason you go out and get him. So. I mean, I know they have Damian Williams there. They even signed, DeAndre Washington. It's like a one-year deal. I'm not really worried about that. Darwin Thompson, the Clown Slaughters guy.
R.I.P.
Not worried about him. Yeah, he's one of my favorite, rookies coming into the league. Guy who can run the ball, catch the ball. 55 receptions last year, was second in the nation. So, he's a mismatched nightmare for these linebackers. I mean, if you have like McCole Hardman, Sammy Watkins, Tyreek Hill, and then that Kelsey just kind of stretching the field, and then you have Clyde Edwards-Helaire on a backer coming out of the backfield. It's just, you can literally just dump it off to him. And, seeing these highlights right here, he's a quick, shifty guy. And he's also tough to tackle. Not the biggest guy in the world, but, just one thing I always say is he's like an MJD 2.0.
No, 100%. I was, reading up on some stuff. Pro Fantasy or Pro Football Focus said he received one of the highest receiving grades from a running back since McCaffrey, which I mean is obviously what we were talking about. Is his upside with the Chiefs? I mean, his receiving game. They're saying just his route tree is just so much more advanced than the rest of the guys. Even Swift, who is good, but he's just just a little bit better. Not head and shoulders above everyone else, but he is just a little bit more advanced. And then I looked up some stats. So going back to 2004 when Andy Reid took over for the Eagles, which is when he got Westbrook. Westbrook's 5 years as a fantasy running back, half-point PPR, he was 4, 7, 4, 1, and 1. So never out of the top 8. Another crazy stat I found was since 2004, Andy Reid has had 12 RB1s, and out of those 12, 8 of them have been in the top 8 finishes at RB, and half of those guys have gotten at least 11 touchdowns. So, I mean, just production, and I don't think he's been in an offense. Andy Reid has been in an offense that's been this explosive. So, I mean, the arrows are pointing up just based off, Andy Reid's history of how he uses a running back. So, yeah, I probably won't get him.
What do you think? You think that having Damian Williams there, like, what's your thoughts on like him and Damian Williams there? Because obviously Damian Williams isn't going away anytime soon, so you're probably looking at a running back by committee. I mean, what do you viewing these guys like RB2s then?
What do you think, Mac?
I don't know. I'm thinking about. I've been kind of thinking about his situation because he might actually get to a price where I might not get him because he might end up going too high for me. Damian Williams is still there. One thing I don't like that I see about him is he's constantly, even before this, he's getting chased down by defenders. I just think he lacks that second burst in the open field. And some of these are college guys. You get to NFL guys, they're all top speed.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I'm seeing that. And then there's the rookie thing where I was doing a lot of details into today is like he was a first round pick, but we can get into some of these guys in second and third rounders where it plays more of a role. I didn't get to finish my research, but these guys just don't come out the gate and they don't get gifted, a workhorse role unless there's no one there, generally speaking. I never shot Penny got hurt, but even in his case 2 years ago, he was a first-round pick, didn't get the workhorse role. Sony Michel didn't get the workhorse role. So even though he's a first-round pick, if they have another quality back, they're not just given right out the gate, all right, you're getting the load. So a little concerned with that to some extent. So I don't know where his ADP is going to be, and that's where it's going to get a little tricky depending upon that. But the upside's there, like Andre said. Andy Reid always carries a top 12 back. Pretty much when he has a guy, he pretty much basically has a top 12 back. So there is the upside in there. So it's going to come a little bit with a risk-reward type of thing. And do I want to take the risk at his draft price or do I not?
Yeah, so I actually looked ADP. I guess I didn't say it, but just to go on with what you're saying, 26.4 right now is where is his ADP.
So he's going like the third round.
So yeah, early third is his.
And that's early, so it could even be higher as soon as once we get closer to season.
Yeah, for sure.
All it takes is one preseason game where he has a good preseason game. Now he's going in the second round.
Yeah, I mean, you saw David Montgomery going in the third.
Yeah,
and he's more highly drafted on a better offense, so it wouldn't surprise me if he's early second
for sure.
Potentially with some people buying into the Chiefs' offense,
and and everybody does, right?
Yeah, and you can't fault anyone for that.
And they gave Damian Williams $60 million just after the Super Bowl. He got an extension, so they just paid him. Or didn't he get? Or 40
million. That's
I'm tripping at 60. Yeah, you're right. Maybe 60.
He's not Christian McCaffrey, dog.
Yeah, I don't know why I said 60. Well, he just got an extension though after the Super. I mean, he balled though. He had 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, but so I don't see him going away. But they did pay him a little. But when Mahomes picks you, it's like.
Yeah, it means something for sure.
And the other thing is, do you think he's the goal line back at 5'7", 209? I mean, I know he's small. Damian Williams is a bigger back, so it's there's that too. I know the Chiefs are one of the better. They're probably gonna lead the league in scoring, or at least top 3. So you do have that, but. I mean, if he's not the goal line back and you're taking him in the second round, that's not what you want to see. Yeah. You get into some of these guys, is like, if you're taking, say, in second, third, you have like a Josh Jacobs, he's the goal line back. Some of these other guys, they're the goal line backs versus we don't know in this scenario.
For sure.
So just kind of something to think about. Super early, we still don't know, like, it's, not even training camp if there is training camp, but we don't even know yet. That's where it's going to make this shit tricky if there's, like, barely any training camp.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I think it hurts the rookies the most, right? Because you can't outperform the guys that are ahead of you.
Yeah.
So they can't take a look, so.
Who was it Jamal Charles was there before Kareem Hunt?
Spencer
Yeah.
Ware too,
Spencer
right?
Ware.
Well, yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
And Jamal Charles.
So, I mean, but Spencer Ware was actually signed. I think he just had an injury the year Kareem Hunt came in, and Kareem Hunt
he got
kinda
hurt.
took over. I think Spencer Ware is a better back than Damian Williams, arguably.
Well, I mean, if you actually go back and look at the numbers, it was like a product of just the offense, because Spencer Ware was balling also, even before Kareem Hunt got hurt the year before. So
Yeah, but even then, I mean, Kareem Hunt was like, they loved him. I know he wasn't a first-round pick, but Andy Reid wanted him specifically, and he wasn't going to be the starter. He was only the starter because Kareem Hunt or
Spencer
Ware just destroyed his knee. So that's the only reason he got the starter. It's real. Like I said, it's a first-round pick, so it could be a little different. But even then, you still have to win the job. The coaching staff still has to trust you.
I don't think that it's true. Remember the first game they played the Patriots and they won, and Kareem Hunt fumbled the ball in his first opening.
Yeah, but I'm
play.
saying that's because Spencer Ware was gone.
yeah, he got hurt in training camp.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying in the first game. I was like, okay, yeah.
No, he got hurt in preseason. I don't even know. It might have been
forgot what
before
happened.
preseason
Yeah,
games. I
something
just know
happened
he
to him.
tore his ACL or something like that.
Yeah, his knee went all explodey.
He got
He said. All right. I mean, but yeah.
So we jump into the next guy. I mean, it's Clyde Edwards. It's good player on a good offense, so it's a good situation right there. I mean, kind of one of the better landing spots for, like Anthony said, this is going to be a top 3 offense most likely. So we can jump to the next guy. You got Wisconsin running back Jonathan Taylor. He gets drafted by the Colts. I think this is one of the better landing spots as well. I mean, you put a guy like him where he's got 4.39 speed, was the fastest 40 time for running backs, and you put a guy like that who has home run potential behind that Colts offensive line. I know they have Marlon Mack, but I'm not really worried about Marlon Mack. Kind of a guy who hasn't been the most reliable player in terms of staying healthy. So, I mean, obviously there's a reason you go out and get this guy, Jonathan Taylor, in the second round. I think maybe it could start off as a running back by committee, but I think, towards maybe 5-6 games of the season, I think they just realize, hey, Jonathan Taylor is he's just a better football player and a better running back, more explosive than Marlon Mack is, and I think he ends up taking over that role, especially with a guy like Jonathan Taylor. Maybe if he only gets 12 to 15 touches total each game, I mean, we see right here on the highlights, all it takes is one, and he can take the ball 80 yards to the house. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts here? Because, like I said, they do have Marlon Mack, but I mean, this is still a pretty good offense. You got Phillip Rivers now back there. Also draft Michael Pittman Jr. from USC. We'll touch on him later. So, I mean, this is going to be a pretty solid offense.
I feel like I'm going to be repeating myself on a lot of these guys. Legit. It's going to be like, I like a lot of these guys more next year than I do this year. I was barely digging into it. What I was seeing is these guys, Marlon Mack's not going to go away instantly. So now is it a Alvin Kamara situation where it's 3 weeks, or is it a Devin Singletary where it's 10 weeks? I mean, you've seen time after time they'll have a veteran in front of them. I mean, who was Carlos Hyde in front of last year? Or was it last year? I was trying to think.
He was. I know he was behind Nick Chubb, or ahead
He
of Nick
had
Chubb.
Nick Chubb, and it's
Nick
like
Chubb.
you see these. There's obviously a difference. But you just see it. They were giving Carlos the Hyde, and then the Carlos guy got traded or hurt. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, they traded him to the
Jags.
And then Nick
Jags.
Hunt got his chance. I mean, you just see it year after year. Like I said, I barely started digging into this, and I've been digging into it, but it's like you're playing a guessing game on when they're going to break out, and it's like so. And for me, it's going to come down to ADP and situations. If I like the ADP and situation, I'll grab these guys. But like I said, I feel like I'm going to be repeating myself on most of these players.
I mean, he's in a similar. I mean, I wouldn't say similar to CEH. What I do like about this is that, I mean, they didn't trade up a good amount. They traded up like 3 spots in the draft to get him. So I mean, they liked him enough to say let's go up and get him before someone else does. But I mean, Marlon Mack almost ran for 1,100 yards last year. So he was effective, but like you said, I mean, I just see him eventually, like superseding him on the depth chart, but. It could be like a Miles Sanders thing. It could be, like an injury helps him, kind of like boost him.
Dre, you want some water?
Jesus, seriously.
Get some water,
Can't even
dog.
talk.
You want some more?
He boosts him over the top. So, I mean, he's faster. I mean, maybe once he learns the plays and the offense and stuff like that, but which training camp is going to hurt, like not having it. So, but I could see maybe like a week 6, week 7. But yeah, maybe be patient. But I feel in time he could. I mean, that O-line is so good. So who knows? But I like that they traded up to get him. I mean, I usually like when teams just trade up. I mean, Marlon Mack is still good though, so don't take him, Taylor, expecting him to be like the day one guy. Like I would, proceed with caution a little bit.
Yeah, and the one thing I got to see with him is he going to be involved in the passing game? Because if it's any kind of PPR and we're not going to see him in the passing game,
it's Sparkle
actually bubbly,
that scared me.
that's going to push him down where I'm going to target him even more.
Yeah.
So that's where, like I said, it's good with training camp shit. I'm going to repeat myself on a lot of this, but until we know, it's going to be hard to predict where I'm going to take him out.
Can we agree Jordan Wilkins is like bye-bye?
Or Jordan Wilkins is bye-bye.
Yeah.
Sure.
He
I
go.
think Marlon Mack is bye-bye after this year, too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think
Yeah, for sure. After this year, you can expect Taylor to be in the top 15 running backs, and then my guess before was that I thought he would be the leading rusher of all rookies, but I mean, CH is going to the Chiefs now, but that was just my guess, early on.
Yeah.
But I like his game though. I'm rooting for him.
For sure. We can jump to the next guy, kind of another timeshare here. You got DeAndre Swift out of Georgia. He ends up on the Lions. I was kind of surprised by this one. I was really hoping Miami would get him. But he ends up in the Lions, and just another running back by committee situation, it looks like, to start off. Him and Kerryon Johnson. I mean, you could say DeAndre Swift is arguably the best running back in this entire draft class. I mean, because a 3-down back, he could do it all. I mean, obviously, there's something with Kerryon Johnson where, like I just said with Marlon Mack, they're not the model of consistent health. Kerryon Johnson can't seem to stay healthy even in college. He's banged up. So, I mean, these three guys right here, obviously in Dynasty, they're probably going to go 1, 2, 3, I would assume, in most Dynasty drafts.
Yeah, I mean, close. I mean, eye test alone, DeAndre Swift is for sure one of the better guys. I mean, right here, whoop, whoop. His cuts, even CEH.
So like Boomer size.
He's quicker. I mean, he's not as complete like we were saying as far as a receiver, but him in open space is just he's shiftier than Jonathan Taylor for sure. But he doesn't have that top end speed. So you kind of have to kind of pick what you like and run with it. But I like him. Like even when Kenny was on, the tread on the tires isn't too much. He comes from Georgia where they do put out a good amount of running backs. So. He's one of those guys I feel some people might not like the committee approach, to start. But I'll take him if he slides to me for sure. I mean, whether that's, dynasty or redraft. I mean, he'd be like a sneaky pick in redrafts. He can be one of those guys. If Kerryon gets hurt, he can win your league on the back end of the year, if he takes over the job. Oh, can you hear that?
Oh, yeah, it's the pen.
I was like, what is that squeaky?
Dude, I was going crazy.
It's brand new. That's probably why.
Dude, I was going crazy. I was like, what the fuck is that noise?
I saw Tier look at my hand like he wanted to hold it, and I was like, wait, he definitely doesn't want to hold it.
Hey, have you guys? Sorry, I don't mean to like.
No, you're good.
No, you're good. You're good. You can go.
Dude, there was a Joe Rogan podcast with Mel Gibson was on it, and he was clicking a fucking pen the whole time, and everyone in the comments is like, Jesus Christ, like tell him to do that, stop clicking that pen. And then like Joe Rogan talked about it on another episode. He's like, yeah, man, he kept doing it, but like it's Mel Gibson. I don't know how to fucking tell Mel Gibson to stop clicking his
It's like
pen.
one of the few guests where he like probably is like,
He's like
I can't say
scared to
nothing to this guy.
confront him about it.
He has like a tick. That's why he just like
Yeah. Oh, it's fucking funny.
Denzel.
Sorry, but
my bad.
No, you good.
Gucci.
Because I don't know. I thought it was his microphone swinging because it was doing that earlier. So, but no, yeah, you good.
Yeah. You know what I also like about him? He's a bulldog.
he's a bulldog.
DeAndre.
But what I like about his situation a little better than Jonathan Taylor's is it's a 1-2. Like it's there's not really that scat back there like you have in Naheem Hines. In Indianapolis we have a 1-2-3 potentially. So it's basically just he has to basically beat out Kerryon Johnson, who, I mean Marlon Mack was still playing going into next year. Kerryon Johnson had like ankle or
Again, knee
ankle season-ending injury. So that's a different story. So I actually think if Kerryon Johnson comes in ineffective versus where Marlon Mack's still going to be effective. He's not going to just be a slouch running for 3.2 yards per carry, which we could see that with Kerryon Johnson if he's not the same after all these injuries. But he's been going back to college. The dude hasn't been healthy. So he has a situation where I could see a clear role a lot earlier than Jonathan Taylor possibly. So early on right now, if I'm taking one of them, I'm going with Swift over Taylor.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I don't knock you for that. I mean, like I said, I think I had DeAndre Swift as my number one overall running back in terms of just like talent coming out. He would have been the first running back that I would have taken. I mean, just kind of, CEH ends up in Kansas City, and then Jonathan Taylor ends up in the Colts. I think it was the very next pick.
Yeah, it was
DeAndre
like-
Swift,
yeah.
Swift came off the board. But yeah, just 3 really good running backs right here. We jump into the next guy, though. This guy kind of lands into probably the best situation. Maybe not the most talented guy, still pretty good, but you got Cam Akers from FSU. He's going to take over that Gurley role, it seems like, in Los Angeles for the Rams. So like I said, maybe not the most talented player of the running back class, but ultimately probably lands in the best situation, clear out the gates for him, to potentially be the workhorse guy here. I mean, they have Darrell Henderson, but I think he's more of like that scat back kind of trick play kind of guy. This could be a guy where, he is seeing, 18 to 20 carries a game or 20 touches a game.
Yeah. I mean, great landing spot for him, for sure. So I looked up 130 O-lines. Florida State was in the bottom 5. So they were 125 or worse 2 of the 3 years that he was in college, and he still averaged 5 yards a carry. And like we said last time, broke Dalvin Cook's rookie rushing record or rookie freshman rushing record, whatever. And like we said, he was the only player drafted this past season out of Florida State. So he was literally the only thing they had going for him on, I guess, both sides of the ball. It's crazy that how far they've fallen from like Jameis and Dalvin Cook and Devontae Freeman. Like, I mean, even Auden Tate was getting drafted. Like these guys he was the only guy.
Yeah.
And a good stat I did find, he broke 78 broken tackles just this past season, which was, they said, equivalent to like a Marshawn Lynch when he was in college. So even though he wasn't getting good protection as far as, or like run protection, he was still breaking tackles and making the most. So that could be a bad thing, like some are saying he could be scarred with a bad offensive line. But, I mean, he's he's walking into something better. It's hard to get worse than where he was at. So, I mean, I like him. I've liked him. But hopefully it works out for him. He can be in a better offensive line. And, hopefully he can take that job because I like his game, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, even if he does start out of the 2, let's just say the season start, he has the quickest path to get to the 1 in that offense.
Yeah.
And that might just be where it's like a veteran thing, week 1, potentially Henderson and Brown getting the start. But like over the last 3 we just talked about, he has the clearest path to being the starter in that offense.
Which is what you
the
want.
quickest, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in redraft leagues, I don't think he gets out of the 3rd round. I mean, if he falls, I don't know what the ADPs are yet, but, if he's...
I could look.
I would argue, he should go in the first 3 rounds, because he is taking over that Gurley role. Should see a pretty good workload. Like I said, maybe if it's not the first couple weeks, down the stretch, you're gonna have a monster.
So right now they have him at. Let's see here.
And you were saying too how they wanted him. McVay wanted him. He loved him. They were actually thinking about trading up to get him, but they didn't have too many picks, so they kind of took a gamble to see if he'll fall to them.
Yep.
And he did. He fell right in their lap. They picked him right away.
Which is good, which is what you want to hear. And I mean, Darrell Henderson didn't really show much, in the time that he got. So
He's not the biggest guy either.
yeah, that's true. He said I like that. So no, they have him right now. We're looking. Cam Akers is 53.3.
It's like 5th.
So 5th round, yeah, is where they have him right now. They got DeAndre Swift at 40. So they have him about a round.
That sounds about
around
right
ahead
for now, right? Because you can say 12 backs, the receivers start to come in. You're gonna mix it in with like those 15 to 20 range receivers, and then you got the quarterbacks and some tight ends.
Yeah, the irony is they have Cam Akers at running back 20 and Gurley's 21. So they're already like, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I mean, I think
about it.
Akers will probably outperform Gurley.
Yeah, hopefully those knees are better than Gurley's. I mean, look at this. We'll see. Hopefully we have a season. Hopefully minicamp comes around and he can take the job even maybe in preseason to where you can get him that, like you were saying, Anthony, he can win the job and then the ADP will jump up like you said too.
And we know clearly that's what's going to be tricky. Like, I mean, if we don't like these players have like a month to get ready for season, it's good. I highly doubt these rookies are going to be starting at the gates. Yeah. It's going to be all veterans to get the jobs right away because you still have time. I mean, they're not even in the rooms together doing playbooks. I mean, they're probably doing online stuff, but it's like you haven't seen them on the field and pads and all this stuff. So it's gonna it'd be interesting.
Good prospect though. Good landing spot for sure.
Yeah, I do like all these guys for dynasty. I think next year, like even if these players don't have the best this year, I think next year these are gonna be 4 guys where we're gonna be like, all right, because it's gonna like be exciting to have these guys. If you're in a type of keeper league like we are, you get to keep them around. These guys might jump up in our type of drafts
for sure
because we want them next year. So
this could be the Kamara in the 11th. You know. I mean, maybe not that deep, but,
maybe
you
like
know.
that.
But I'm saying you can get you a sleeper.
But maybe
you know?
like instead of taking him in like let's just say the 5th, you go out and grab him in like one of these guys in like the 4th, or you go a round and a half early, maybe 2, because
sure.
you're still going to get production. And you get to keep these type of guys next year. Because there are a lot of people who do those type of leagues where they keep one guy or 2 guys.
And they're all young, so
Yeah, definitely one of the better landing spots for the running backs right here, in a prime position to perform.
You could argue the best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. And he plays for the Los Angeles.
I don't know about those unis, but I'm curious. I'm curious to see what they're like.
Disgusting.
All right, so we'll touch on the first receiver. We got Jeudy from Alabama. He ends up in Denver with the Broncos. Another rookie as well, KJ Hamler from Penn State, right?
Penn State, yep.
He also gets drafted by the Broncos. So got some weapons here for Drew Lock. I was kind of like, first thoughts, I was like, I don't know. They got Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant. We'll see what happens. But, I mean, to think that if you can put Jeudy in the slot, I mean, arguably the best route runner in this draft.
Goodness.
Arguably one of the best route runners in a long time to come into the draft. I think he could be a solid PPR machine here. And one thing where he makes his bread and butter is like the yak. So it's kind of like a Golden Tate almost. For a long time, like Golden Tate was like a 90 catch, 1,000-yard kind of guy right here. Maybe not a ton of touchdown upside, but you're going to get. You're going to get a ton of catches and then the yak every time he gets a catch.
100 yards after catch.
100%. Yeah, he can be. He can step in and be like a flex. We're in a 2 flex league. He can be. Or some people are like wide receiver 3s, like 3 wideout leagues. I could see midway to the end of the year, he can be like you can start him almost every week. I mean, as the offense progresses, but it looks like they're trying to help Drew Lock and the whole offense kind of take that step forward. But I mean, look at that. The dude's shaking people out of their shoes. So as long as Drew Lock can make that jump, like you said, I can see him being just his rookie year before he kind of makes that jump. I can see him being that like 6 catch, 80-yard guy, and you throw a touchdown here and there, and then he makes your day and you're good, And then as the year goes on, he can, get better and better. But yeah, high upside for sure.
Yeah, I think having a guy like Cortland Sutton, who's already like a proven, Pro Bowl talent wide receiver, I think having a guy like that on the field who will draw the number 1 corners in most case scenarios is only going to help him excel.
Yeah, for sure. And he can be like a chain mover guy too. You don't need to give him. You could throw it to him for 4 or 5 yards and let him do the rest. So.
Yeah, and I mean, even kind of just to touch on Sutton, I mean, having all these guys is going to help him. I feel like he was just everyone was on him, and he was still making stupid catches because they knew he was the only guy in town to fucking
Cortland Sutton was balling.
Yeah, I mean, in redraft for this year, I don't see him taking the number 1 role this year in particular. I mean, could it be next year or the year after? Yeah, I could see that. So you might get off to a little bit of a slower start with him potentially, but like Andre said, I think in the PPR you're going to start to see some consistency as the season goes on. So.
Yeah, they have him. Let's see here. I'm trying to find him. I don't know. It's all fucked up now.
It's all fucked up.
It's all fucked up now.
For sure. We
It's
jump into the
alright.
next guy. We got Cedee Lamb. This one was kind of one of the shockers of the draft. I think the Cowboys weren't prepared to have Cedee fall into their lap.
A lot of Jerry Jones memes out there of him.
Yeah.
Did you guys see when he wasn't even holding his phone? He had some chick holding it for him.
No.
Like it was on speaker and the chick's holding it for him. Like, here you go. It's
Tag your sponsor.
like Jesus Christ.
But yeah, so Cedee Lamb, he kind of slides in the draft, I guess you could call it, falls into the Cowboys' lap here. I think, receiver wasn't really a need for them, but I mean, when you're getting a talent like Cedee Lamb and he's on the board, I mean, at that point, it's kind of you just take best available player. So, I mean, now you have Amari Cooper, Mr. $100 million man. We were primed on Gallup to have like that, was it 3rd year kind of breakout? He actually was pretty solid last year, Michael Gallup. So we were kind of really hyped on him going forward this year. Now you bring Cedee into the mix. It's just another mouth to feed. One thing me and Andre were kind of talking about off air was that, even though they do have Gallup there and now it's kind of like a 3 wide receiver set that they're going to have a lot out there. If we're so hyped on Gallup, I mean, we have to be hyped on Cedee because Cedee Lamb and Michael Gallup, even though it's good Gallup is, Cedee Lamb is, in such a better tier than what Michael Gallup is. And I think he actually takes over that number 2 role, and then just having Gallup on the field will actually just help these guys as well, So I think Cedee Lamb could actually be what we thought Michael Gallup was going to be coming into the season.
Do you think this year though?
This is what I think.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say, like, I'm gonna go off of just like our knowledge of rookie wide receivers and like how they don't really show up usually the first year. I mean, DK Metcalf really made it like an exception this previous year. But that being said, if you go off of that knowledge, you would just say that possibly he might just be more of a distraction for other teams' defense, and then it could leave Michael Gallup open. So like to me, I'm seeing Michael Gallup's value actually like go down, and I actually kind of like it a little bit more, where he could be that what's his name that went to the Bills this previous year from the Cowboys. What's his name?
Cole Beasley.
Cole Beasley. Like Cole Beasley was pretty in PPR leagues, was actually pretty like viable, and you know what I mean, because he had John Brown stretching the field. So I don't know. I could see CeeDee Lamb kind of being a distraction almost there, and creating like a better value for Michael Gallup.
Yeah, I mean, kind of to Mike's points, I've started looking into rookie targets. I don't know if there was a rookie who topped 110 targets last year. I can't remember. I was looking at him this morning, but it's very rare that you get a rookie that goes over 100 targets, and especially when you have Amari Cooper, you still have Zeke out of the backfield, you still have Gallup there, and so in a redraft, it's kind of tricky. I had Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper both in my top 24 before this. I mean, Cooper's obviously going to stay in the top 24, but I think Gallup's going to drop out of my top 24. Possibly this just makes him more of an inconsistent wide receiver 3 potentially. I mean, Cobb was there last year, and he did have 80 targets. So, you know, CeeDee Lamb takes 80 targets. I mean, not saying it's going to be the same targets, but I still project to be a good offense. So while I'm kind of down on Gallup, this can actually make him a value potentially, because now people who were kind of coming around to him listening, oh, Michael Gallup, now maybe they think CeeDee Lamb's there and he's just going to overtake him right away. Maybe you get Michael Gallup in now the 11th round instead of getting him in like the 6th or 7th. Maybe he is someone that you get a value out of still. So kind of early to tell with the ADP. So Michael Gallup still might be someone I'm targeting just because he dropped so low that he ends up becoming a value.
Yeah.
Word.
Well, you got some good stats on CeeDee Lamb over here. You told me one out of the slot that was pretty interesting.
I got a few. Did everybody go? My last.
Yeah, you Gucci.
Sure. Cool.
Yeah.
So
tell us your stuff.
Oh man. So
hashtag interesting stat.
Yeah, make it interesting. Make it interesting, or else we'll be real mad.
Okay, cool. So his career in the slot in college, that was good. Doing that, those bubbles are delicious. He his slash line for his stats are 52 catches, 1,085 yards, and 12 touchdowns, 20.85 yards per reception. That was his career numbers in college out of the slot. So he can light up anywhere. It really doesn't matter. I got more numbers for you. 2019, number 1 in the nation with Yak, 11 yards Yak per reception, which is absurd. From the start of 2018, so 2 whole seasons, he was 5th in the country with 38 broken tackles. Out of those 38 broken tackles, he averaged 9.2 yards of Yak per catch, which is also retarded. Sorry for that word. Stupid. Out of those 38 broken tackles, 16 of those were 10 or more yards downfield, which means he was getting downfield, which was 2nd in the nation. And out of those 16 catches, he got 7.7 yards after the catch on those. So dude was just getting downfield, breaking tackles all over the field. I mean, he breaks tackles and he gets yak. So he's all over the place. You can line him up inside, outside. Obviously, if I told you 52 for 1085 and 12, you can do the math on the other side, and that's what he lined up on the outside. So I'm not going to give you those, but you can figure it out. He can line up all over the place. So even if, like I was telling T last night, I'll take my chances with him to start the year on a nickelback who he's going to eat up. He will just eat him up. And then if they decide to put a better DB, then that's just going to help Gallup and Amari. So I think his talent as far as being able to line up everywhere is just going to help the whole team. And I also told T the Cowboys didn't even interview him. Did you say that already?
No.
The Cowboys didn't even interview CeeDee Lamb because they didn't think they had a chance of even drafting him. He wasn't even on their draft board. So that's when they got him, it was quick. They didn't even think he was going to be there. So for the Cowboy fans, they're like, damn, that's why, because they actually were interested, but they just were like, there's no shot that he falls to us.
Yeah, because they were assuming Green Bay would actually draft a receiver.
Well, hey, there's so many O-linemen. They were the beneficiaries of a strong O-line class that, sometimes this shit kind of happens.
Yes,
so,
sometimes.
Yeah, those are my numbers for him.
I think one thing if this says right here is that I think Dak is going to be a really valuable. I think a lot of people were sleeping on Dak, and even last year he had a pretty solid year. They still sleep on him. I know he wants to get paid that big contract extension. Me included. I think it's a joke that he wants to get like $40 million. I think he's more a product of the system than being this like superstar quarterback like a Mahomes in a sense.
He might get it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Yeah, he's primed to have a monster year with these weapons.
Is he top 8? Are you top 8?
Oh yeah,
I think he'd be top 8. Yeah, I think he finished
easily.
Yeah, I think he's got a chance to finish top 5 realistically. You know,
I think consensus already had him in top 8 before.
I've never had him, so I'm always like, they're just like those QBs.
Jack was probably sitting on his couch and then he's like sitting there waiting for the draft. Like the Dallas Cowboys select Cedee Lamb.
Let's go.
Hey, imagine.
Give me 45 bitches.
Yo,
For sure.
yeah, I wouldn't want to
My
get.
price just went up.
I wouldn't want to get paid yet. I'd let someone else get paid. That way, I could be the next guy.
Dude, if I'm him, I'm trying, dude. Yeah, he better try to throw like no picks.
yo, imagine.
I don't know how that happens, but
Bro, imagine A-Rod and Dak are texting, and Dak's like, yo, what's good? And Aaron Rodgers is like, yeah, just excited to finally get like a new receiver for the draft. And he's like, yeah, man, I wish I was in that boat, dude.
Yeah.
That'd be tight.
he's like, yo, let me get Gallup real quick. Let me get Michael Gallup. Or maybe
Little
they
did
trade
he
him. Dude.
know.
You never know. Do you think? Well, that's maybe for another day. But maybe. I mean, it only helps him, right?
Yeah.
If he balls out, trade him away.
Yeah, who knows?
For sure. Next
Word.
receiver, we got Denzel Mims out of Baylor.
Yeah.
Denzel, my miss.
It kind of reminds me of Devontae Parker, Denzel Mims.
I mean, what do
He
you?
ends up on the Jets. I actually think this is one of the better landing spots for the receivers here. I wouldn't be surprised if Denzel Mims leads all rookies in terms of targets. I think he's got a good chance of leading that team just in general in targets. I mean, no more Robbie Anderson, no more Demaryius Thomas. They do have Jamison Crowder, got a couple tight ends in Ryan Griffin and Chris Herndon. You know, of course, you have Le'Veon Bell out of the backfield. But I think if there's one guy here who could be like the number one, I mean, obviously Jamison Crowder was pretty, I want to say pretty consistent for the most part with Sam Darnold when he didn't have mono. But yeah, I think, if this guy can come in and just, from day one, it's just Mims and Jamison Crowder. I mean, I think the sky's the limit for this kid. Talented player, obviously, like you said, even when he's not open, he is open. He just jumps up. And that's why I say he reminds me of Devontae Parker, because he just pulls up these catches where it's like, even though he's not open, like you just throw him the ball and he just jumps up over these other DBs and makes plays.
Yeah, something I want to look at. Sorry, I just wanted to get it before I forget,
don't.
Andre, because I don't have a notepad or a notebook or
No, dude,
any
do it.
pad.
have an
Is Gase is an idiot. He's full retarded.
Oh, dude,
You
I
never
had that
go
written
for
down.
retarded.
I had that written down right here. I had that written down.
I just know from knowing his systems in the years in Miami's offense is that outside X receiver. I want to look at what's the target in a season. Like, what is the target maximum that type of outside guy has reached? And one of the things I remember with Devontae Parker, when I was listening to, I think it was Matt Harmon on Reception Perception to like talk about Devontae Parker, is like he would just stick him in the same spot over and over and over. And it's like he was struggling with some press coverage and all that, and he wouldn't move him. So now we still have Adam Gase there. He's going to play the Devontae Parker role, to use that name. So, I mean, as a rookie, I'm going to look at, okay, what's the most that in Adam Gase's system has this outside receiver been targeted, factor in that he's a rookie, and then versus some other stuff, and then I'll be able to probably say how I feel on him. But I need to get those numbers and look at that first. So it sucks that Adam Gase is the coach, because I'd probably be a little bit more excited.
Dude, just boring.
I just imagine Dre's and Oates. It just says Adam Gase equals dumb.
with
know what I mean?
with the big eye emoji, you know how his eyes are like fucking humongous.
No, they're not humongous. They're just really
They're like
close
Close
together.
to each other, that's true.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Chicken run?
Yeah.
I don't have a crazy amount.
I don't think Dre knows that.
Info. Chicken run.
We used to call him the guy from Chicken Run.
No, I don't
or
know.
like the chickens from Chicken Run, because
I've
they're
seen that
eyeballs.
movie. Oh, I have seen that movie.
Right
though, so
down.
that does make sense.
Andre, how much do you think a chicken costs to buy?
Yeah. We had an argument about this. How much do you think?
A whole chicken?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
a
buy a
live
live chicken. Like if you want a
Oh,
pet chicken.
A live chicken. $20.
Bro, these fools said $500.
I said
the other
500.
day.
Tyler said like 3.
I said 300.
I was like, what do you think these chickens
What are these
do?
fucking exotic?
I'm getting Joe Exotic's chickens, all right? That's what I'm getting. They're extra.
You
price.
can buy a tiger for $1,500, but
Sounds
these
like a
guys
good
are buying
restaurant right
one
there.
chicken for.
Joe's Exotic Chicken.
Bro, it takes
$20. I said $20. You guys said 500.
these
That's
fools.
great.
Hey, it takes like 1/3 of a tiger to feed your tiger, like one meal.
Dude, you know what? These chickens are like fucking. They got paperwork. They're like bred from like the ultimate chickens.
So now you want breaded chicken?
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
I do like breaded chicken breast actually. That's pretty good. Okay, but continue.
Oh, Mims, right?
Sorry, I
Mims?
just thought of that. Yeah, Mims.
I saw the dot in between, so I was like, "Who's Mimis?"
Mimis.
No, when we were doing the draft,
It's 'cause I'm-
the companion. I just remembered thinking of him. His slide was so weird. It reminded me. I said it on there. It was like DK Metcalf, and they almost got drafted in similar spots. I want to say DK went 64. He went like 59. So, and the thing is, he had like the same measurables, like 4.3 40, came out of nowhere at the combine with these, these crazy numbers. But for some reason, teams like kind of didn't want to take him. But I feel like it's the same thing. Like, dude almost got drafted in the same spot with the same numbers. Like, combine, he was actually faster than DK Metcalf. So, he's going to a good spot. Like we said, landing spot. I'm also a USC guy. Like, Sam Darnold likes to air it out. He actually likes to be aggressive. But when dudes aren't getting, separation or getting open, I mean, he's not going to just do a Jameis and throw it to the other team all the time. So it's like fuck. But now he's got somebody, and they got Rashad Perryman too. So let's see what he can do. But he's going to walk in, I would say, at least 80 targets, right?
Potentially.
I mean, hopefully, who knows with training camp and all that. But I mean, I like his upside. Even if he doesn't get that many, I can see him at least getting 6 touchdowns because he is a big body in the red zone. So he could have more of a touchdown upside than the other guys just based on his size.
I mean, low-key for a receiver, that division outside of the Jets isn't the best division to play against corner-wise.
Yeah, I mean, he's got your Dolphin guys and Stephon Gilmore. So
yeah, and then you got on the Bill side. So that's something to kind of low-key think about. I mean, you got 6 games against
100%.
Games. Top 10 corners. They said.
Wait, and didn't the Bills just sign someone on the other side who's pretty good? I want to say the Bills got somebody else.
They got Tyler Reveles. It's pretty good.
Well, that's a nickel. So watch out. Watch out, Rashad Perryman.
Yeah, and I heard that guy's got a small pickle too. What?
You heard right.
You heard right.
Shoe heard it right.
He said big heart. Got a
big words.
So we got another receiver right here, Justin Jefferson from LSU. He comes into Minnesota looking to take over that Stephon Diggs role. They traded him away to the Bills. Just another situation where he kind of steps right in to a prime situation where he should be utilized and, targeted heavily right out the gates. I mean, outside of Adam Thielen, they got Tajay Sharp, but I'm not really worried about him. Maybe you see a little bit more Irv Smith Jr. this year in his second year. But I think Justin Jefferson, good landing spot right here. One of the better landing spots, that's for sure. I mean, what do you guys think about this? The same colors.
Yeah. I like it. Opportunity. I mean, the colors, I guess, they know what he's going to look like now. He comes from a pro-style offense, too. So, Joe Brady, he liked to emulate a lot of what the Saints like to run. So, from that aspect, at least he's a little bit, a little bit more ready than.
Dude, do you need. I'll karate chop you in the throat if you would like.
So, he needs less. Or this whole coronavirus thing doesn't really affect him as much because he's already kind of familiar, but. I mean, learning the Vikings playbook, I'm sure, is still a little different, but he's at least ready, and he's stepping into an offense with a good running back. They like to work off the play action, so the way the offense is ran, I think it could benefit him because he could stretch the defense because he runs a 4-4 too. So
yeah, like what you're trying to say is that transition can be a little easier for him because he's coming from a pro style offense versus some of these other guys who haven't had that. The transition isn't going to be as easy for them if we're coming down to a shortened time.
For sure.
So I mean, he should be the 2 there. I mean, you think if they get a camp, right out the gates. So now it's just trying to look at what kind of target share. Obviously, he's not going to get the target share that Stephon Diggs gets.
For sure.
So that's we're not going to.
Stephon Diggs only had like 100 targets last year though.
I think we missed a few games though too.
Yeah, he played like 14. But I mean, Diggs is
talented. He's not. I mean, could he be Stephon Diggs possibly? But right out the gates, he's not Stephon Diggs. So you got to figure that's going to come down some. So, but I like the path to, a wide receiver 2. It is a run heavy team who's going to want to run the ball a lot and play defense. But I think he's going to be a late round guy, and I like the potential upside right there.
Yeah, definitely the path of least resistance.
And Adam Thielen has, the last year and a half, he's kind of been on and off the field. So, if he's struggling a little bit or gets dinged up again, he could be the rookie de facto 1, potentially because all they have, like Tyler said, is Tajay Sharp.
So his ADP right now, you guys want to guess? Hey, you want to do a quick guess? It's under 70. I'll give you that.
I was going to say 68.
68?
So it was right there.
Justin Jefferson?
Round.
No, I'm just saying it's under. I'm telling you it's under 70. So what is your guess for ADP?
Whatever 14th round is.
Well, 14th round's like 150.
That's right.
So
he told you under 70.
I'm telling you it's under 70.
140.
His ADP is
no,
60.
it's under 70.
He goes,
160.
He goes, I know, but what's the 14th round? That's where I'm taking it. So his ADP
it's
right now is 60.
It's like Tyler
62.
drafting anybody. Yeah, if you can get him as your 4th receiver.
Wait,
dude.
how is ADP 60? There's no way it's 60.
Yeah, look, so I'm looking at it. Look, so they have.
Or is it 608?
They have Thielen at 61, and they have him at 63. 62
Thielen
point
at 6. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is
I
crazy.
mean, you can't think. I mean, obviously, if he's going to take over that Stephon Diggs role, I mean, you got to think Thielen and Diggs were both going in the top 4, maybe like latest top 5 rounds. They're both going in those top 4 or 5 rounds. So if he's just going to fill into that Diggs role, maybe yeah, he's not Stephon Diggs. You know, maybe he doesn't see as many targets as Stephon Diggs would. But I mean, to kind of be like a poor man Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
You know, I still think he's heavily utilized in this offense. And like I said, a player who this was probably the most well-around player I thought I could find. You know, good routes, good speed, you know, good contested catch, just, you know, play some pro-style offense. I mean, the guy put up crazy numbers. Put up video game numbers this season with Joe Burrow. One thing I could say, too, LSU guy, so I wouldn't be surprised to see some of these videos popping up on social media when people are allowed to start, you know, working out together. But you'll probably see some videos with him, and OBJ, and Landry, like, doing some workouts together. So, I mean, if you're hanging out with people like that, OBJ and Landry, I mean, that's only going to boost your confidence and make you even more ready to be prepared to play at the next level.
And they put out, what is it called, like projections. They have him at 93 targets, 93 targets, 60 catches for 618 yards and 6 touchdowns. I mean,
I also think that
are you using? Because I'm using
Sleeper.
fantasy football calculator, and it's like
I'm a sleeper.
6th, 7th round. You got guys like Christian Kirk, AJ Green, Will Fuller, McLaurin, DJ Moore,
I don't
Juju.
know. It's a sleeper, man.
Well, sleeper.
Hey, sleeper.
needs
If
to
you're
wake
on here,
up.
bro, it's sleeper.
Yeah, the
sleeper.
ADPs, I don't really look
I
too
mean,
much at
ADPs,
the
yeah.
ADP.
But I mean, I'll take those
It's so
projections.
early.
I mean, 90 targets. I mean, the projections are far
I'm
off
just
for me.
confused of where the app's at. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's like I'm looking at this is just fantasy football calculator where they update it every day.
Yeah, I just went to sleeper. But I mean, I like the projections, 90 targets.
Yeah.
If all goes well, if he stays healthy and they play a whole season, 90 targets, what's that? You stretch that through 16 games, that's 5.5 targets a game, 6 targets a game-ish. Yeah. So, yeah, because 16 through 6, that's 96. If you get 6 targets a game for a whole season, you get 96. So, a little under 6 targets a game. I mean, it's doable. Does he do it? I mean, who knows? But he's in position to.
Yeah, no, just a good landing spot for sure right here.
Yeah. That'd be good if he does it, but who knows?
Yeah, so we got J.K. Dobbins, the running back out of Ohio State. He gets drafted by the Baltimore Ravens. Like I said, it was some of these like situations it just depended on where these players went, you know. And a lot of these players, they kind of got drafted into some crowded backfields, or even some of these rookie receivers. You know, you saw some teams drafting 2 or 3 rookie wide receivers, so it kind of makes things a little murky in terms of the target distribution for them. You know, I feel like some of the values fell. You know, we'll touch on some of those guys as we go down the list here. But
you're gonna touch on some of those guys. I'm not touching on no guys.
But J.K. Dobbins, he gets drafted by the Ravens. I mean, like saying, if he went to like the Rams, you know, it'd be flip flop.
man.
You know, we'd be talking about, oh man, the sky's the limit for this kid here. Goes to a situation where you have Lamar Jackson, who I think he was top 20 in terms of rushing attempts. He's still got Mark Ingram. I know he's getting older. You know, he's on the tail end of 30 in terms of running back years. I mean, what's your thoughts on him? I mean, like I said, it's another murky situation. Running back by committee, running quarterback.
The one thing that I thought, I mean, the committee thing, I mean, at least Mark Ingram's 30. I'm not as sold on like the whole fall off after 30, but he is going in the second round. So you figure they are going to use him. I feel like this affects more of like that Justice Hill, because I mean, he did do well, but I feel like when you take someone this high, I mean, you're going to use him in some regard. I mean, it's more what they want to do with their offense. Are they going to try, like Anthony was saying, those 50 less carries that you don't want Lamar Jackson? You're going to give those to Dobbins in a different form, and are you still going to be run heavy? You know what I mean? And then kind of not draw back that often. I'm not sure, but I mean, his talent's good. His spark score, he was in the top 1%. I know when him and Akers came out of high school, he was a number 1 athlete, like with the spark score. So he's a crazy athletic. He's a lot faster than Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram's, like I said, a 4.6 guy. He's a 4.4 guy. And I wish I would have written down the exact number, but it was his pass protection. It was like he gave up, like the quarterback got touched on like 3% of his like pass protections. Like he's just really good at like picking up blitzes, and the quarterbacks don't get sacked too often when he's back there. So that'll just help him not pass Mark Ingram, because Mark Ingram's been a boss in the NFL for a while, but it's just going to help him get on the field and you know, maybe help
Carve out a
produce.
role for himself.
Yeah, just nothing crazy, but it'll help.
Yeah, in a redraft, he's one of the guys where I'm like, it's kind of
Intriguing.
yeah, it's kind of it's like I see some upside, but then it's like, I mean, because what if Mark Ingram does kind of fall off? I mean, it could.
Then he's going to kill.
Yeah.
I mean, the average best seasons, average best seasons for a running back is 24 and a half years old.
Yeah.
So I mean, Mark Ingram's much there's obviously outliers
Yeah.
Frank Gore and fucking
AP
and stuff
Andre
like that.
Navarro, yeah.
But those guys are guys that are they're unwilling to give up.
Did Frank Gore officially retire yet?
No, he's still trying to play somewhere. That's what he said. He goes, I'm down to play somewhere. Like, where are y'all trying to play? I'm down.
Do you think his family's like, Frank, just give it up. We want you home with the family.
I want you to be able to know
The
who
kids
you
are almost in high school
I'm
already.
not gonna lie. I looked up
The
if he
kid
was in
passed high
I looked up to see if he was in debt because I read AP owed a lot of money, so that's how he's still playing.
Yeah.
And then I read Clinton Portis has hella gambling debt, so I was like, let me see if this dude Frank Gore just owes hella money somewhere. I couldn't find anything, so I don't know. Maybe he loves football.
He's like a
I
model
sat-
citizen.
Dude,
I sat
seriously,
right behind his family at the. Were you at the Dolphins game with us?
No.
Whatever the Dolphins and the Patriots.
Oh, so when he was on the
Miracle,
Dolphins
really?
10 years.
But no, the Miracle, whatever.
Oh, y'all were at that
Drake,
game?
Yeah.
He,
Don't get me
he was
started.
at the game.
Yeah, he left early.
Michael, shut your mouth.
They missed it.
Yo, that shit was
He heard
funny.
it in the parking lot. as he
Didn't
was
King and
leaving.
Drake score that?
Yeah. But I
That
sat
was
right behind his
crazy.
family. It's you could tell his kids are some of his sons look just like him. There's 7 or 8 of them.
His kid's hey, his kid's gonna be in the NFL with him. Fucking playing running back.
Probably. But yeah, I'm not sure how comfortable I feel with these guys. It's almost does it in redraft leagues? Is it 1 week Mark Ingram has a 100 yards, 2 touchdown game, and then the next week it's J.K. Dobbins, and then are you playing rush flipping back and forth which running back and then not to mention that they have the best rushing quarterback probably ever. Well, they do have the best rushing quarterback ever
True.
in all time. So it's I mean.
Yeah,
Is it going to be some games J.K., some games Mark Ingram? This is a situation where I'm not sure if I'm going to take a chance on either one of these guys, just because I don't want 1 week them give me 20 and then the next week he gives me 4.
Yeah.
And then 1 week it's Lamar Jackson.
Would you ever consider taking both?
I don't like
That's a
burning
bold
2
I know
spots.
you don't.
I just don't like burning 2 spots.
Probably not.
No.
No, probably not.
You can do
If
it.
you're a dynasty, that's different.
Yeah, I would just just to lock it in. I'm not a big handcuff guy, but I try to go for upside handcuffs, someone who could.
I like taking the handcuffs of other players
That's true. Yeah.
because it's
For sure. Yeah, so you
I
get
don't
the-
want to bet that my guy gets hurt,
but I want to bet that your guy gets hurt. That's for sure.
I feel like I just
up,
want
but
to
that's
say
true.
I feel like that between running backs and receivers, I think the receivers landed in better situations than the running backs. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree.
yeah.
No, for sure.
A clear pass right
overall.
away.
Yeah, as the offenses are right now, I think that's
For sure.
For sure. Speaking about one of the receivers, you got Michael Pittman Jr. out of USC. He lands on the Colts here. It's a good situation. I mean, they do have T.Y. Hilton, but he's getting older. Obviously, battling injuries throughout his career as well. As soon as they drafted him, I think I said it on the draft campaign. This is Mike Williams for that Charger offense for Phillip Rivers. So we saw Mike Williams come in his rookie year, only had 66 targets, I think it was, but 10 touchdowns. So, I mean, the upside of having a big body guy like that with Phillip Rivers, no more Ebron. I mean, we saw Ebron that 1 year, 14 touchdowns in that Frank Wright offense. So this could be potentially the best wide receiver, in terms of putting up numbers this first year in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ty, Andre pointed out, I like Ty, but he can't stay on the field.
Yeah.
The reason I have him ranked so low is I'm basically projecting him not stay on the field.
For sure.
So
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
So if he was to get hurt, then I mean he's the de facto number 1 receiver right here. You got to think that the offense through the air is moving through Michael Pittman Jr. Then.
Yeah, or at least a 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
With what's his name there?
Zach Pascal.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying.
Harris Campbell.
Yeah, at least that.
But I mean, if Ty does get hurt though, boy, they're about to be running the ball a lot. I'll tell you that.
that would help.
Yeah, for sure, Jonathan Taylor. But Michael Pittman, I mean, I like him. I mean, obviously I'm a USC guy, but like you said, landing spot, the path of least resistance to playing time is for sure there. But I don't know if you guys saw.
Day 1 starter.
I don't know if you also saw during the NFL season when we saw my man Phillip Rivers throw a jump ball in the corner of the fucking end zone to Austin Eckler with a minute left. I don't know if you guys remember. That was a Monday night game. Yeah, of course. He threw a pick into double coverage to a 5'9" running back. No shit, you're going to throw a pick. So if Phillip Rivers likes to slang the ball like that, throw it to this dude because he's not Austin Eckler. So
He likes throwing picks.
Yeah.
Been pretty good there for a couple years.
dude, for sure. So Phillip Rivers is getting older. He's he's not what he used to be, but he still likes to at least give his playmakers, like you said, he likes to at least put it up there and give him a shot. So
He has Go, sorry.
no, just Mike Williams had, would you say, he had a year where he had 10 touchdowns on only 60 catches, and then he had another year where he had 50 catches and almost 1,000 yards. So I mean, it's the yards per reception, and Phillip Rivers likes to slang it. So
Yeah,
I'll take my
He's
chances.
one of those guys where it's like, how are you like you watch him throw the ball and it's like, dude, like if you just like were at a field and like playing at the park and you saw this guy throw, you'd be like, someone's like, dude, that guy's a professional quarterback.
Dude,
You'd be like,
he
you're full of
throw-
shit.
Those are so weird, bro. It's so weird. But
He throws it like your unathletic friend throws it.
he's like slinging it.
He
Well-
throws it like I throw it left-handed.
No, actually, we tell him he throw. Jules. We tell Jules he throws like Phillip Rivers.
See the throw, he's the
Dude, he
favorite.
throws like Phillip Rivers. It looks like Phillip Rivers needs to teach him how to throw, but it's great. Jules, my guy.
Sensei.
It's funny, but yeah, Michael Pittman, good landing spot. T, what do you think?
I mean, he's one of my favorite receivers coming into the draft. I think he's arguably the safest prospect of like a can't miss kind of guy. Like I don't see a situation where he busts. You know, I mean, he reminds me of like a Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Kenny Galladay. Just a big guy, 6'4", runs a 4.5, strong hands. I think he had the lowest drop rate in the entire NCAA for football college players. So a guy, if he gets his hands on the ball, he's coming down with it. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I think potentially getting 8 touchdowns as a rookie is not out of the realm of possibility.
No, for sure, I can see that. I can see him being like that Calvin Ridley, just touchdown machine for sure.
For sure. We could jump into the next guy. You got T. Higgins out of Clemson. He ends up on the Bengals with Joe Burrow. It's funny because I was watching the draft campaign and we touched on this. We were like, it'd be nice to see them get a receiver. We said either T. Higgins or Michael Pittman Jr. We were like, yeah, you kind of do that whole Andy Dalton, A.J. Green scenario again where you draft the rookie quarterback and rookie wide receiver the same year and just have them like grow together throughout their career. So now you got T. Higgins paired up with Joe Burrow. And it's like I said, I think this is just the AJ Green, Andy Dalton scenario all over again. Super talented guy right here, another 6'4" guy, big body, fast kid. AJ Green's on a 1-year franchise tag deal, so I don't think he's there. Outside of this year, I don't think he's there. I think this is his last year, if they don't move him for some reason.
Yeah, he's someone I can see getting moved at that trade deadline. Like, it's like week 8 now. It's later, so he's someone I can definitely see because I don't think the Bengals are going to turn around this year. So I can see them being a losing record again. So he's definitely someone I could see being shipped out midseason.
Yeah, I think he's just like he's kind of soured up, muddied up the waters over there. Like I feel like if I was a coach and I have AJ Green going around not playing when that guy could definitely have played last year. You know what I mean? I don't know if they purposely did that or like told him not to play or what the situation was, but yeah, it sounds dark, and I wouldn't want him to like poisoning my new rookie running or wide receiver rookie quarterback. For real though, I mean,
it's just dark and poisoning. I agree though.
Yeah. I mean, some people are poisoned, dude. You've been in the league. You're what do they call that when you're? I can't think of the word.
Like a nuisance in the locker room.
Yeah, like you don't want like an A/B situation.
I feel that.
I don't know.
So before I wanted to double check myself for my sources, but so I did read or I looked up some stuff. So not this was the reason, but it was actually reported that before the coronavirus, T. Higgins and Joe Burrow were actually working out together in California. So they're actually friends with each other, and they had came in contact and they're like, hey, let's go work out together in California. So they started a couple days just kind of doing workouts. The Bengals had actually found out about it. They reached out to Joe Burrow and they're like, do you do this all the time? Is this like your boy? And he's like, it's not my boy, but we do like to work out together. And then COVID-19 happened. So
That's what he said. He said, it's not my boy. But,
yeah, I had right. I mean, I'm not going verbatim, but he's saying like he's not one of my best friends, but they like working out together. So whether it's like a professional thing, but
I was in the group chat with him. So yeah.
So the coaches were like, okay, like, do you like him? And he was just like, I do. Like we have been working out for a while together, and they went out to Cali together, and then the whole virus thing happened, and they all had to like split up, and then they called them again when they were picking with the 33rd pick. It wasn't really like a Mahomes thing, but they just asked him, and he was like, yeah, like, I mean,
bet.
they're going for not really protecting their investment, but they care a lot about Burrow to where they at least care enough to ask him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and they cared enough to find out that they were working out together. So
Yeah, it's smart to get that rookie quarterback, and like
yeah,
you said,
like
yeah,
me and T were saying, yeah, for sure. So
like the Steelers did that with Mason Rudolph and James Washington. It worked out really well.
well, and who
Or
went?
Deontay
Who,
Johnson, one of them. I
oh
can't
yeah, who
remember.
went? Yeah, with Duck Hodges, they killed a duck together, right?
Back.
Yeah, no, I'm saying because they went to the same school.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Mason Rudolph. Yeah, Oklahoma State.
Yeah, everybody's like, dude, they're connected. We even fell for it, fucking idiots.
So yeah, no, that should be good. But yeah, I don't think AJ Green will be back. But you know what? Fuck it. If you're an AJ Green owner, I mean, he's someone that I might want to target in redraft. I mean, the injury thing is always up for, always up in the air, but he's trying to get paid and he's trying to go elsewhere. So why wouldn't he want to do his thing, So he could be one of those, like you said, 8th round, 7th round guys or 6th round. He can help you win the league, I feel like, if he stays healthy, because now he's like not in the latter end of his career, but he's starting to get overlooked by, up and coming guys and other guys that have been more consistent.
31's not. I think he's 31 or 32.
It's like him and Julio came out together, I want to say, but Julio's still doing
For
his thing.
receivers, that's not like you're getting there, but it's not like the death ages yet.
Yeah, you're not Frank Gore yet.
That feels never laughed.
Frank
he's
the Tank.
He's like 38 years old, bro. If he retired the same, or he got drafted 05, like some guys are Hall of Fame eligible already.
There's legit running backs who are like 4 watching Frank Gore.
Yeah,
That are in the NFL
it was
now.
Devin Singletary when they were on the same team together. He said he was like 5 years old when Frank Gore got drafted.
Okay.
He's like, I was in kindergarten.
So we all like T. Higgins. Is that the story, or what? We like that landing spot.
Dude, he's gonna kill the Steelers this year, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
He's gonna
The
kill it.
Bengals, dude. Yeah, dude.
For sure. We'll jump into the next receiver. You got Henry Ruggs, the third out of Alabama. Winds up on the Raiders. They like people who go fast. So they were just like, who's the fastest guy? Okay, yeah, you.
That one guy ran a 4.1. Yeah.
This is
He's
just
a
murky
triad.
because they ended up drafting like 3 different rookie wide receivers. I mean, you still got Tyrell Williams, savvy veteran. Darren Waller, who's not going to get 70 catches.
70 or
65.
I put that beer bet up there for you
I'll take 60. Where is it at?
on the bottom.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. What else is on there? Mike Penis.
Yeah, I
Over
put
under
Mike's
4.
penis
Did y'all
over
set me up?
under
No, I was
4
going to
inches,
read
yeah.
that.
No, I didn't read that either.
I was like, did y'all know I was going to read that? What the fuck? I was like, Mike's penis.
Mike's Penice.
What the fuck?
But nice.
I don't know how that's a beer bet, y'all, but
Over
whatever.
under 4 inches.
I would take the
Well,
over.
hey, subscribe to the YouTube if you want to
Find out
see
the
us
bet.
find out the beer bet.
Well,
Wait, are we talking flaccid or hard though?
dude. Yeah.
It better be hard. Or else I'm fucked.
Well, who's fucking you? I don't know. You're fucking yourself.
For sure. Anyway, so Henry Ruggs winds up on the Raiders. Obviously one of the fastest guy in the entire draft. I don't like the situation. I just don't trust Derek Carr. I don't trust Marcus Mariota. And then now they drafted Lynn Bowden Jr. We'll touch on him towards the end. And then they also drafted your guy Brian Edwards out of South Carolina. So go 3 rookie wide receivers. Like I said, they have Tyrell Williams. You still got Darren Waller. And I ultimately think that this offense moves through Josh Jacobs, not through Derek Carr or Marcus Mariota's passing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's your thoughts on Ruggs here? Because he has like that Tyreek Hill kind of like esque, but I mean, it's some murky situation in my opinion.
I think what's going to happen is he's going to make me look stupid on week 1. And then the rest of the year, it's going to be like.
So you're saying he's going to Sammy Watkins week
And
1
then, yeah.
and to do nothing? That'd be fucking funny. I hope I don't face him. No, I mean, I told you, Lynn Bowden, I don't know why. And I kept looking it up. Remember we were sitting here. They announced him as a running back. I kept looking stuff up. It looks like they want to use him as a running back, which is, I guess we'll find out more. But as of right now, they want to use him as a change of pace back to Josh Jacobs. So I don't know how they want to do that. Maybe like we said, like a Kareem Hunt thing. That's kind of an intriguing thing for me to look at, because now if they don't use him, maybe that helps Ruggs out a little. I don't know. It's just kind of strange to me, the whole offense. Derek Carr is a wild card. Like I said, I just like his upside, and I mean, Jesus, well, Derek Carr hasn't made a pass like that in his whole life, so. But
A wild card.
yeah, so there are a lot of mouths to feed, but that's another I want to see training camp with those guys just to see what they want to do. But I don't know, the whole Bowden thing and Tyrell Williams. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like teams are trying to be the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to
Speed.
speed and make all these have these playmakers and all these different types of
Like gadget
guys. I mean, it's just I feel like this year it's like I feel like we're kind of seeing that out of teams.
It's like
Is it gonna work? Probably not as good as the Chiefs.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah,
Derek
but I
feel
Carr,
like they're trying-
Mahomes.
Yeah, they have this guy named Patrick Mahomes that is kind of the anchor for all that.
And
but I
who
feel
did-
like they're trying to do that.
The other team has a guy that
He's best.
that's what their quarterback
Jesus
sounds like. When
And
he
I
throws
think
the
we just
ball.
lost 3 subscribers.
Just boo-booed.
What'd he do?
Dummy. I mean,
Yeah, I just
yeah,
had
I mean,
a nose
it's
just
true.
hit the mic.
like Amac said, like teams are trying to go speed. Like I told T, the Eagles drafted like 4 guys. So
You want to hear what I put?
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, the Raiders are just iffy. I want them to do good because we live here. Because we live here, so that would be nice to like have them have a good offense. But
Be able to watch it.
yeah, but I mean, we'll see.
I don't like this landing spot. I don't like the crowdedness of the targets. Like he's competing with a lot of guys for targets. Is he even the go-to guy in the offense through the air? I mean, like
Check down.
I know we give you shit for Darren Waller, but I mean, arguably it could be Waller is the main guy that they move the ball through the
I mean,
air.
he loves him.
And then
but yeah,
also it's Derek
fuck.
Carr and Marcus Mariota. You know, these are guys who I'm just not impressed with. That I'm going to rely on to be getting my receiver the ball in a crowded receiving core.
Yeah.
I feel like it's almost one of those situations too where Mike. Oh, fuck, what'd you say? Mike said something else. Needs an analogy, but I forgot it. Like it's the Raiders and they just took the fastest receiver.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're cursed.
Yeah, for
like this
sure.
guy's just gonna be a
Yeah, he's going to be the fastest to fall for
Yeah,
sure.
Like
They
if he
just
went to another
plummet.
team, even fine. But if the Raiders took him, it was just like instant curse.
Yeah. And if they do plan on passing the ball to Waller a lot, they're not going to win. You can't win giving the ball to your tight end every time. Like, I'm sorry. Like, even Kelsey, like, they have
I don't
other
know.
targets. Like,
The Patriots did it for a while.
but they at least had 2 tight ends and they had Brady. Like, the Raiders aren't
There
good
was
enough. The
they
Raiders
won
aren't
2
good
Super
enough.
Bowls without Aaron Hernandez.
Hey, Aaron Hernandez was the man. Chill out.
But I'm just saying that they didn't really have 2 tight ends.
But hey, don't forget, though, who was a Super Bowl MVP? Deion Branch was a Super Bowl MVP one of those years. Don't forget, dog. He had like 12 catches.
All right, so we touched on another fast guy here. we got Jalen Reagor out of TCU, goes to the Philadelphia Eagles. I was not high on Jalen Reagor at all. I mean, yeah, the guy's fast, but I mean, I don't know. There's nothing that blew me away when I was like watching his game tapes. I mean, yeah, he is a playmaker. He can make things happen, but is he like a true number 1, like a Michael Pittman or like a T. Higgins or Justin Jefferson? Like, I feel like those guys are just in another tier compared to a Jalen Reagor. They also draft a couple of the rookie wide receivers as well. I mean, we'll see what they do. They have J.J. Arcega-Whitehead or whatever how you say his name.
Whitehead, Whiteside.
Whatever.
He's got-
He couldn't really
was
pull it
great.
together. You got Deshaun Jackson who's supposed to come back from injury, which is basically what Reagor is,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Alshon Jeffries, on the wrong side of 30, I think, and he can't stay healthy at all.
For sure.
And then you have Goddard and Ertz, who I feel like Ertz is actually the wide receiver 1 or the 1A
First
at
option.
least you want to first option in the offense. So yeah, I don't really like Reagor personally. I mean, he might make me eat my words, but there's just nothing that blew me away from watching him. That's gonna be like, oh yeah, I think this guy's gonna be a stud. Like especially in Dynasty, like I wouldn't be targeting him.
Yeah, I mean it. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Not that many people like Reagor. I mean, none of us here, are that high on him. Like we said earlier, how are you in the Big 12 where they're like synonymous for like not having defense and you only score 5 touchdowns in a game in a whole season, and go as a 4th wide receiver? Like,
Yeah.
I get you have speed, but there's other dudes that that are 4.4. You know what I mean? Like we said, they took John Hightower 4.4 speed, Quez Watkins 4.4. Like, I don't know. I don't mind eating my words on this with this guy because I've honestly tried to like him too. I'm like, you know what? God, he's like so high on the mocks. Let me see if I like him. I'm like, no, I don't. Like,
Nah.
just I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he was like a John Ross.
He's one of those players where like you're like, if I'm wrong on him, cool. I don't
Yeah,
care.
for sure.
That's kind of what I've gotten. Like there's some players where I'm like, cool. Like if that guy ends up hitting, like there's just more negatives than positives.
Yeah.
And you'd like it's almost like to the point to like okay, if something ends up happening, like cool, I don't give a fuck because I'm not wasting my time on like all this like negatives in a sense.
Especially in like redrafts, it's like was the risk worth the reward? I can't even fucking say that word.
Reward.
The risk worth the reward.
Like it's like would you rather have Brandon Aiyuk or Jalen Reagor?
Oh, Aiyuk.
Exactly, right? Yeah, and Reagor went.
That's just because you like Dragon Ball Z.
Okay, fine. Would you
That's
rather have?
Street Fighter, bro. Get it right.
Yeah,
was
yeah.
kidding.
Damn, you tricked me, bro. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I didn't
Jalen.
really pay attention.
I would rather have Justin Jefferson than Jalen Reagor. I'd rather have Denzel Mims than Jalen Reagor. So
He wouldn't have been in my top 10 receivers.
yeah, I had him at 9, and that was being generous. So yeah, that's me trying. Next year, I'm not going to be so nice. Fuck him. He's like
He reminds me
15.
like I'm a Cole Hardman.
Yeah, dude.
That's what I think he is.
I don't know. Hopefully, I guess he works out. But
He's gonna have some games where he puts up numbers, but is it gonna be consistently like week in week out where you can trust him? Like, nah, maybe a best ball league kind of guy, but
I don't see it. But like I said,
yeah. So we touched on another guy right here that I wasn't very big on. I don't think you were either, Dre, but kind of falls into, I don't want to say a dream scenario, but obviously one of the better landing spots of these rookies. You got Keyshawn Vaughn out of Vanderbilt. He ends up on the Bucs. And he's kind of primed to take over that David Johnson role in this Bruce Arians offense. They kind of lacked that last year. You know, they tried to see if Ronald Jones could get it done. A couple good games here and there. I mean, Peyton Barber's not really. He's like a ball carrier.
yeah.
You
Where
say
did he go?
so.
Washington. I want to say right. Peyton Barber. Yeah, he's gone. So
Yeah.
Sounds right.
So, I mean, they go out to get Keyshawn Vaughn. I mean, it's looking like he's primed to take over, like I said, that David Johnson role in this Bruce Arians offense. You know, him or Ronald Jones. A guy who the speed isn't going to blow you away, but, I mean, a guy who's a capable pass catcher out of the backfield. I mean, if he could get you 50 catches,
yeah,
I mean, PPR-wise, what's that, a serviceable RB2 right there?
for sure. Yeah.
Back-end RB2?
What's his? I want to look at his pass blocking grades and stuff like that. Have you dug into that yet? Because
so-
it's Brady, and Brady could be easily be like this motherfucker off the field if he can't block. So that's a little bit of a worry. Like, I mean, Brady's kind of got a couple years left, and that's what I want to look at, like his pass blocking grades and some stuff like that.
So I couldn't find like his grades, but from what he's good at, he's just one of those. He's a little older, but he's just one of those like tough guys where he just doesn't mind like he picks up a blitz. He doesn't mind just going over there and just throwing his body out. Which is why I was reading the Bucs like him because they didn't have a goal line back. Like Peyton Barber was like wouldn't hit the holes to where he's not the fastest, even though we're finding breakwaways. He's more of like that.
That's
tough,
his only breakaway.
Yeah, he's
in this
one of
whole
those
highlight.
like he's like
and
a
it's
tough
because LSU was up by 30.
45.
They didn't care.
That's true.
Yeah, you're good, bro. Go ahead.
So no, they like him because he always, or not always, but he genuinely likes to fall forward. He's like a tougher, more aggressive guy, which I do like. And Peyton Barber leaves open 154 carries. So I mean that's a good amount of touches. Is he going to get all of them? I mean, who knows? But I mean that's still a good amount. And if he can show he's better than Ronald Jones, maybe he can take some from him. But I mean, for him to get drafted in the 3rd round, I mean, at least shows because I mean Ronald Jones has had 2 years to show what he can do, and he really didn't really run away
He's
with
had
the
a couple
job.
Flashes as a runner, but as a
Oh,
pass
man.
catcher, it's like
he's might as well be
Non-existent,
blindfolded.
right?
Might as well be
And
blindfolded.
we know
So-
Bruce Arians wants
Yeah.
to use
Yeah.
that running back who can catch
he
the
might
ball
be
in the
one of my
backfield.
favorite like running backs to target in like when we're getting into these situations where the running
late
backs are
round.
coming into committee because it wouldn't even surprise me if he has a clear role as the passing downs back, and then as the season progresses, he ends up going from maybe 6 to 7 carries to 8 to 10 to maybe we're getting into week 9 and now he's 12 to 15 carries and plus passing down work, and you have an RB, maybe a high upside RB2 every week. So he's someone that I might be intrigued to take and get a lot of shares of.
And especially in redraft, you know how it is. Weeks 12, 13, 14 can win you playoffs. Get those waiver wire guys,
Yeah.
And they have a Dario Gumbawale was their 3rd down back. I had him in Dynasty. He had like 3 receiving touchdowns. He was all right, but he's a better talent. So as long as he can, surpass him on the depth chart and then just show he's just proficient enough in the pass game, he should be all right.
I mean, he might even have week 1 at the gate, like I said, just due to especially from PPR.
For sure.
If you get 3-4 receptions as a running back, that's kind of like an RB2 flex ish.
Yeah.
But right out the gate, he might have that role. He could be someone, even if the carries aren't there, you're getting carried week to week. I don't want to say the James White role because it's a completely different offense, but you could say a David Johnson-ish role, or let's just say a receiving back play role, because every player is different. So it's but Arians likes a receiving back.
But he has a nose for the end zone, which is going to help you in fantasy.
Like you said, could even be the goal line back, could be the receiving and goal line back. So there's definitely some upside there.
Yeah, he's not the most freakishly athletic, like like your 4.40 or like your verticals, but he's just like a gritty, tough dude. So that goes far too.
Yeah, and the Bucs should have one of the best
what?
offenses in the entire NFL. So you obviously want to get players from these high-scoring offenses.
Okay, I got a good question real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
full season, who has a more higher scoring offense, the Chiefs or the Bucks?
The Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs.
Okay, that wasn't that hard.
I know they say that there's no such thing as dumb questions, but
Oh, dude,
That
that's
was a
weird because you
fucking dumb
literally just
question.
said that the Bucks have the best offense in the NFL.
is that what I said?
That's not what
It's
you said.
literally what you just
Is
said.
that what I said? I
No,
don't think that's what I
no.
said. Play it back.
I can't.
Run it back.
Yeah, run it back. Clip that shit.
You literally just said, I think the Bucks could
They'll have
possibly
one of the best, like better offenses. One of
That's
the best.
not-
Yeah,
you
one of the
are one of the
best.
best.
Not the best. One of the best.
Yeah, you didn't say the
offenses.
best, Mike. You would know this if you weren't wearing headphones.
Yeah, dude, they're not Ramsey. They're not the Tampa Bay Ramses. They're not the best.
You think that? I think they're okay. Whatever.
Well, yeah, just a good situation right here. But I was gonna say we'll
You said
touch on
you could have-
Andre's
could have
guys.
the
He gets
best.
to
I was
leave
like,
to go to the
should we skip
bathroom.
them and go to the next one first, or we'll just wait?
Nah, we can just wait for Dre, I guess.
Or should want
But-
to start with Zach
Yeah.
Moist?
Now we just do Brandon Aiyuk. So we got Brandon Aiyuk
Who will get-
out of Arizona State. Winds up on Andre's San Francisco 49ers. It's a good landing spot right here because they kind of need that second receiver next to Debo Samuel. I'm not sure how much fantasy value he's really going to have. I think if anything, this kind of just helps Debo Samuel because it's just another playmaker on the field. I'm really high on Debo Samuel coming into this year, just a second year in that offense. But I mean, here's the guy where like I think the experts or even like the mock draft guys, they were all pretty high on Brandon Aiyuk. I mean, I think he's talented, but like again, like I said, there was nothing that really kind of like blew me away. Like, oh man, this guy's like a superstar. I mean, you still got Kittle there, who's arguably the number one option
Pretty much the one.
in the passing offense. And then obviously, this is obviously one of the run heaviest teams in the entire NFL. So we can get the Messiah's thoughts right here on Mr. Brandon Aiyuk.
Man. I mean, I'm glad he's on the Niners. I'll take that. I think he's just more one of those same thing like path of least resistance to playing time. Like they don't really have that many guys. Like Jalen Hurd, they're thinking about converting to tight end still, which is weird because we just took another tight end and we have Kittle, but whatever. But no Emmanuel Sanders. We have Pettis. I like him because he can return kicks. So they actually might use him in that regard because we also got rid of Marquise Goodwin. So I'm just big on teams that trade up for guys because obviously that's who they wanted. And I mean, granted, it was with like 3 or 4 spots. But, I mean, I'm also a Niner fan, and I kind of want a wide receiver. But, I mean, I like his talent. N'Keal Harry didn't really show me much for ASU guys last year. But, I mean, the one crazy stat that I did read is that he has an 80 – did you already say the 82 he has an 82-inch wingspan. Calvin Johnson, who is 6 inches taller than him, has a 83-inch wingspan. So he only has 1 inch smaller than a guy who's like 6 or 7 inches smaller than him. So
He's got some arms.
So dude's got So his catch radius is really good. So
Well, it's also just getting out in front of the DBs.
yeah, so long arms, he can snag the ball out of the air. I thought that was crazy. So
I mean, where do you see him though? Because like I said when you were gone, you have Kittle, who's probably the number one option, then Debo Samuel, so he's like the third option in the passing game in an offense that's a run heavy offense.
yeah, I think it's going to be
I think they're technically the run heaviest offense if you take away Lamar Jackson.
yeah
Because that's
for
like
sure.
that skews the Ravens.
Yeah, QB runs. Yeah. I mean, they did a good job of using Debo Samuel last year, mixing him in because even when we were up, they would, they do like a lot of smoke and mirrors, or they like to run formations that look the same and run like, handoff, fake handoff, end around to make everything look the same. But, I mean, you don't take a guy in the first round and trade up to not try to use him. So maybe not as much year one, but I could see him being used like a Debo Samuel, like, similar. Because, I mean, they still got to pass the ball to another wide receiver. You can't just do Kittle and Debo. But, I would be patient. There's definitely other guys I would take above him as far as wide receivers that are rookies. But I like the spot that he's in because of the play calling and stuff like that.
It'll be Debo, and that's it for me. For redraft.
Yeah, for sure. And then maybe pick him up if he starts balling. Because, I mean, look, he does return punts. So that's a good way to get on the field. But, yeah, the Niners run the ball a lot. Jermichael Hasty, hopefully.
All right, next guy.
For sure. All right, so we got Zach. I don't know why Mike
Moist.
put Moist over
That a
here, but
boy.
we got
Moist.
Zach Moss,
Some people
running
say,
back out of Utah.
They can't see- Nobody else can see that. It's just us.
Oh, okay.
So Zach Moss, running back out of Utah, comes to the Buffalo Bills, joins Devin Singletary. See, this is a scenario where I know we all love Devin Singletary. We're all pretty high on him. I mean, the upside was just through the roof. But now they bring in a guy like Zach Moss who has true 3-down workhorse potential. I mean, a guy who can run, catch, pass block, everything you want, and he's built like a running back. Devin Singletary, not the biggest guy at all, so it's looking like this is going to be a running back by committee. Obviously, we saw Singletary. It didn't really matter, even with his limited touches when Frank Gore was there. He was still pretty productive for you. But I mean, where does this put Zach Moss then? Obviously, he's better than Frank Gore is right now in his career.
Man.
Obviously, like I said, this hurts Devin Singletary's ceiling. Do you see both these guys just being like top 30 running backs, or?
I mean, I want to see what the Bills do. I mean, they did get Diggs. They could, make that step forward as an offense, but top 30? Man.
And then you have Josh Allen, who's like Lamar Jackson 2.0.
He's the white
I think
Lamar
he might
Jackson.
run in the red zone more than Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, he had 9 rushing touchdowns last year.
Because he's a little big. He is big. He's
Lamar
a big
Jackson
boy.
scores from a little farther out. I think Allen might be more of like that Cam Newton. Like we're
Cam
inside
Newton,
the
yeah,
three,
that's better, yeah.
Just go for it.
For sure, because he's a bigger body. That's why it's tough.
So where do you gauge Zach Moss's value?
I mean, Singletary is going to be the 1. He's going to be the 2. But
This is where I would maybe take one or the other. This would maybe be one of the only ones where, depending on what your draft strategy is, where you might want to try to take both. Because I could see where if Singletary gets hurt, Moss can take over. But I don't know if it's the other way around. Because like you said, Singletary's not built like that. But if Singletary goes down, I feel like Moss's value can go up just because of the way he's built.
a little more backside upside.
Yeah, just because. Exactly. So that's what makes him a little bit more intriguing. But the offense, he is like that goal line guy to where Singletary's like between the 20s, can catch the ball because he's a little bit better catching the ball than him. But that one's murky. That's unfortunate because I like Singletary. So
Yeah, just kind of. I mean, he's a 3rd round pick. He's a 3rd round pick. 3rd round picks don't work out at least 50% of the time, if not more. But to the point of, let's just get to this. Josh Allen, like I said, 9 touchdowns last year rushing. How many times? Like teams on a high side rush for like 20 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
So now you're saying, let's just say Allen runs for 7. You're splitting 13 up between. This is like high side, which I don't even see them running for 20.
yeah.
I just don't know if I really like the upside of either. Now that there's 2 guys that kind of do the same thing. So unfortunately, I don't know. I might be. And then it's like week to week. If you got, let's just say you're going to score 1 rushing touchdown, and Zach and Josh Allen's going to take it. Now you got 2 guys just doing the yardage. Just going to have weeks where you're getting the points aren't going to be pretty. I'm just kind of not excited for.
Yeah, I mean the Bills' offense not terrible, but they're not a juggernaut like the Chiefs or like even like we were talking about the Bucs. We're a team that could score like 30 points a game. There's some of these games where the Bills are putting up 13, 17 points and just playing good defense.
Yeah, 17 to 10.
They don't have the offense to carry multiple, a variety of fantasy options like other teams can.
Yeah, and they have a quarterback who says we just repeating ourselves, but he's taking 9 touchdowns away, which makes that even harder to trust these guys on a weekly basis.
Yeah,
Hopefully he makes a jump forward.
I would have liked to see him land in a different scenario. Like I wish that he would have landed in Tampa Bay. I would have been more excited.
I
feel like
wanted to
this-
see him in Seattle. Would have been nice too.
Yeah, this is another example of running backs landing into different harder spots than receivers. The receivers just did better this year for fantasy implications.
Yeah, for,
You know
for
what I'm
sure.
saying?
It's the way of the world, Craig.
Like it's a good pick in terms of the Bills for their football team going forward, but
Yeah.
in terms of helping fantasy teams going forward, it just made things murky
Yeah.
and hurt Devin Singletary's value.
Yeah, for sure. They got depth there now at the position, but that sucks.
Yeah.
So Zach Moss is not Zach Moist.
He's not here, not on this side.
All right.
We got
Are we jumping to the next guy? You got Laviska Shenault Jr., wide receiver out of Colorado. He ends up on the Jags. This is another scenario where, he's going to a wide receiver core where you have DJ Chark kind of emerged last year. He had that connection with the Minshew. D.D. Westbrook, I always say it, former Biletnikoff winner. Just a good slot wide receiver, I feel like. And then they still have Chris Conley, who they paid to that contract a couple years back. So, you have 3-4 really talented receivers here. How good is this offense going to be? First year in the Jay Gruden offense. The guy's obviously a playmaker. He's kind of an athletic freak. He was one of those guys where I was looking at the film where it's like, yeah, he's talented, but is it going to transition over to the NFL where he's consistently doing it, or is he going to be a gadget guy? Like a Cordell Patterson was kind of what he reminded me of. What's your thoughts here with this crowded wide receiver core they have in Jacksonville? And then obviously, Minshew right now being the
Quick
quarterback.
thoughts for me, a waiver wire guy, if anything.
Yeah, redraft, yeah. So I'll just read you what Doug Marone said about taking him. I guess he was a guy pushing to get him. He said he's just a tough guy. He doesn't run out of bounds, breaks tackles, and he can do a lot of things. He's physical and he's fast. He's a definite playmaker, and we talked about getting playmakers on offense, and he is just that. So, I mean, obviously you're not going to draft the guy and be like, God, he didn't look that good, but we took him anyway. So, so obviously you're going to say what say the things that he wants to hear. But it sounds good that they see him in that light. Maybe, like I said, he's just a different player than D.D. Westbrook and even Shark. Like, he's more, like we said, more of like a gadget guy. The Cordero Patterson, I do like the body type comparison, but like I said, from the reading I've done, Cordero Patterson was not he's like a Jamarcus Russell wide receiver. Like, dude didn't open up a playbook. It was even, I read this thing, Bill Belichick was trying his hardest to not call him stupid. Like, he was like, he's a practice player, but he's not a playbook guy. He's like, you just let him go and play. He's basically saying, just put him on kick return because dude doesn't know shit else. So... And this was multiple. I read from like multiple teams too. Like one of my buddies was telling me about it, and I was like, man, because he's such a freak, because he is. And then I went to look up, and dude just can't remember a playbook. Like he's just not. He's like, when he goes on the field, they're like, hey, you're gonna get the ball. Like, don't forget. Like, we're gonna give you the ball here. So where him, like I said, he's a high character football guy. I'm curious what they do with him though. But I do see the body type Cordero Patterson, but. He reminds me of like a Anquan Boldin, AJ Brown with the ball. Like, he's just, like I said, tough. He'd rather run through you than run around you, but he's also fast.
Do you think this is more not so much Laviska Shenault as more as it's like maybe Minshew will be a sneaky late round quarterback because now he's got weapons?
Yeah. I mean, wasn't he like a QB 12 for a while? Like, he was like a QB 1 when he first, like when Minshew Mania started. Remember, like people were
safe floor every week. I think it was like 14 points, so nothing
like
crazy. But he wasn't losing you.
Yeah. He was like a
Phillip Rivers, like of old, where Rivers was like, oh, it was like you were happy every week, but you weren't like, it wasn't like he won you a week.
Yeah, because he wasn't blowing you away, but he was doing this thing with Shark. I'm curious what they do with Fournette too. I mean, if they get rid of him, it's just that offense is in disarray right now. I feel like this is one of the teams that need OTAs though. Like because they got Jay Gruden, the new offensive coordinator. They don't even want Fournette. They got some running backs. I mean, they got rid of Nick Foles. I mean, it's all Minshew's team now. Like, this is his first mini camp where it's all him. Like he didn't get that last year. So
that's a good point with teams with new coordinators. Is they can look at the playbook, but. If this is a short, I'm going to be a little bit more sketched on offenses that have a new coordinator coming in and a new coach. It's one thing if you maybe have one new coordinator, the coach is there,
and the QB.
like Minnesota, for example, Kubiak's basically just going to be running the same offense. It's not that big of a deal. But now if you have a new coach and a new coordinator, where you're changing everything and you get shortened. I'm going to be a little sketched on those offenses, to be honest. Yeah. It could be a tiebreaker thing where if I'm thinking about one player versus the other, I might be like, you know what? They didn't get time to like kind of run through all this. There could be some early season struggles. I'm going to go with that.
For sure. So, and the Jags, and I read they're tanking for Trevor. They actually might be trying to do that. So,
yeah.
All the tanking for T's.
I mean, fuck.
It's your boy T.
It's your boy T. All right, so we'll touch on the next guy. I know Mike likes
you
this
go
one
first.
right here. You got Notre Dame wide receiver Chase Claypool goes to the Steelers. He's one of my favorite players. Looking at the film, just a big body guy, 6'4". I think he ran like 4'4" or something like that. Something
4'4".
stupid. It was the measurables were like only him and Calvin Johnson being that tall and weighing that much put up those kind of measurables. Now I'm not saying he's going to be Calvin Johnson, but you see some flashes of like him just being such a big body guy, being up to go up and get the ball in these 50-50 jump ball scenarios. I think it's just going to help Juju. It's obviously going to help Big Ben as long as the elbow holds up. I mean, what's your thoughts on this landing spot for Mr. Claypool?
Mike?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I like it. The coach actually said from Notre Dame said like the Steelers is like the best spot for him to land. He's just like kind of meant for our system there, so that's cool, good to hear. But I also feel like you kind of just say things like that. I think his fantasy implications are all dependent on whether or not Big Ben stays healthy. Yeah, I think we definitely needed like skill position players, and we got a couple between him and excuse me, I didn't even have his
Anthony McFarland.
Him and Anthony McFarland. But yeah, so I like it. It just all depends on if Big Ben stays healthy this year. To me, because we obviously saw our quarterbacks last year not do much. But yeah.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite. Like I said, he's one of my favorite players when I was looking at the film. It's just kind of like I think it is a good situation. I think this actually helps the Steelers as a football team more than maybe Chase Claypool as like a fantasy prospect. I think I would like it a little bit more if Eric Ebron wasn't there, because he's another guy who's 6'4", who's a red zone monster. So, I mean, you have Ebron now, you have Juju, and you have Claypool. I think if anything, this kind of just helps Juju, just get more playmakers out there. Because I mean, James Washington and Deontay Johnson were kind of just like, I don't want to say fillers, but I mean, they were just kind of like, they were just there.
They just didn't. They didn't
Yeah.
show up when we needed them to. It's like Mason Rudolph could only complete like 3 passes, and by the when they finally got a target like on them, James Washington would drop it, and it's just like, okay, we can't have So hopefully this wide receiver in here, they kind of have like a little bit more trust in him. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people think wide receiver and just think wide receiver. Like everyone's a wide receiver, but
It's like, no, he's like Mike Evans.
yeah, exactly.
Bigger.
Like you have a Deontay Johnson and you have a James Washington, who are a little they're just different, different skill set.
They're out there looking like J.J. Nelson.
Yeah, like they're not going to take a big hit or jump up and get a ball, like a contested ball in the end zone, to where they're hoping that Juju can be the guy that just like takes their number one, but be their number one guy. But he's more of like a prototypical like one. I mean, they already, like I said, they have Juju, but he's not like a Deontay Johnson slot guy. Like he's more, you can move him around, and get matchups, like put him in motion and do stuff like that. But he's not like I don't see him as like a slot guy. But he's got the speed of it. But he's not quick, So
But I mean, the guy jumps through the roof.
Exactly.
I mean, like a Jimmy Graham, kind of what he reminded me of.
I hope he pans out, because I just want to see him just out athlete people. Like,
Yeah.
it would be good to see, even though he's on the Steelers, whatever. Big Ben, yeah.
For sure. All right, so we jump into the next guy. This is probably one of the most shocking, I guess. I was going to say intriguing, but it's not really intriguing. I guess more shocking draft picks right here. The Packers doing everything they can to piss off Aaron Rodgers.
This is what the
smartest move of the
Packers sounded like when they were drafting. Oh wait, fuck.
Dude, are you going to play the poop sound again?
No.
Why is everyone so fucking stupid?
So the Packers go out and they draft running back A.J. Dillon from Boston College, who, I mean, this guy's a tank. What is like 6'2", 250 basically. He ran like a 4.4 40, something like that. Something stupid.
Yeah,
40-inch vertical. I mean, this guy he is a tank. But then it's like you just had Aaron Jones have this like breakout year, 19 total touchdowns, and even Jamal Williams was pretty decent as like the change of pace kind of
top 5
like third down.
RB2. He's like a top. I mean,
Yeah, Jamal Williams was not bad. It's not like he was a bum.
No
So
way.
it's kind of interesting to see why you go get a guy out here. Obviously, he doesn't offer too much upside in terms of the passing game. That's kind of like where Jamal Williams was. So, I mean, goal line carries. I mean, what's his role going to be on this offense right here? I don't understand. I mean, I wasn't high on Aaron Jones going into this. Now I'm definitely I'm for sure not high on Aaron Jones at all. Having a guy here who could just, even if he snakes a couple touchdowns, I mean, that's 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, realistically, give or take.
I think the reason that. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, go ahead, Mike.
I was just gonna say is like I think the reason we're seeing these random things, them drafting Jordan Love, drafting AJ Dillon, not drafting a receiver, is because Matt LaFleur is taking over the offense, and so I think that he's getting rid of the Aaron Rodgers offense, and I think because it's a lose-lose situation. If you stick with the same offense that they've had for the past years, they obviously rehired you. They want a whole new thing, and if it works the way it was before, then Mike McCarthy is going to get the credit for that. I think that's Matt LaFleur's ideas going into this year, and so I think that the whole offense is going to completely change this next season.
Well, they're. I mean, I was listening to someone talk, and they brought up the point that like Matt LaFleur is always. He's had like a top 10 rushing offense every year except for last year, and that I just think this is gonna be. I'm not excited to have Aaron Rodgers at all. I'm not excited to have anyone receiver outside of Devontae Adams at all.
I think that it's for sure.
And there's other part of it too. Is these guys are both in contract years, so this is a guy that next year could be the only guy there. So that's a part of it too, and he's got to be thinking too. To your point, Mike, is all right. We have a ground and pound type of run first system. I might not have either of these guys next year, and I want to go up and get an AJ Dillon type of guy for next year too, potentially. So he's someone where if you could get in that late one of your last picks, and you are looking to keeper like we are, I mean, he might be someone worth kind of holding on to see what he plays out to be, because next year he might be the only guy there.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen too, like Aaron Jones last year, first year that he actually stayed healthy, because he's battled injuries the previous 2 years. So, I mean, A.J. Dillon could be a guy where if I'm drafting Aaron Jones, like I'm probably handcuffing him with A.J. Dillon just because I want to cover my ass in case something happens. Because if Aaron Jones was to go down, then yeah, I think you could see A.J. Dillon, he obviously would be like the Thunder to the Thunder and Lightning. I think Jamal Williams would still be in the mix, but obviously he'd be like the main guy, and obviously all the goal line work would primarily go to AJ Dillon.
You think so? I don't.
If Aaron Jones went down.
Oh, if he goes down. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear that. Yeah. I was like, because Aaron Jones was good in the red zone. So
No, I'm saying if Aaron Jones got hurt, because he hasn't been the most healthiest
if
person consistently.
Aaron Jones gets hurt too. I mean, Jamal Williams hasn't been that effective as a runner, so it's goal line work. I don't think he has the same receiving upside as Aaron Jones, but he could be someone on like this could almost be like a 49ers type offense where they're just running the ball like with potentially 3 different guys, but they could be in the top 5 in rushing attempts this year. I'm kind of leaning towards they're going to be that way, where they're going to be trying to run the ball and play defense in the top like 8 of carries.
Yeah, I'm not too big on him. Going back, actually, this past season was Aaron Jones's first season where he didn't finish the season on the IR. So, I mean, hey, he finally did it. First time for everything. So I get it, but yeah, this whole AJ Dillon thing, it just doesn't really make sense. He's one of those guys. I mean, you're gonna have to hope for someone to get hurt. I mean, he just doesn't do anything better than any of the other guys that are already there. Like, he can't run it better than Aaron Jones, and he can't. I would take Jamal Williams out of the backfield over him, and he's probably not that good. So I just want to see more from him. He does weigh 245 pounds, but he's 200 pounds of quads, and then the rest of his body's like the other fucking 45 pounds. So
this guy's got monster quads like Saquon Barkley.
yeah, that's why his vertical was dumb because his quads are massive. But no, I liked him a lot more. But yeah, landing spot and all that given, I'll just sit back and see. But
I do wonder if this does kind of potentially drop Aaron Jones to somewhat of a none of us predicted him to have high touchdowns. I think we all had him as low as like 8 to 12 runs or lower. I mean, I wonder if this drops him into a range of where he ends up potentially being somewhat of a value, because like you're saying, he doesn't do anything better than the other guys. Is he just going to be kind of a depth chart guy this year?
Yeah, it's like,
you see it in second round picks all the time, year in and year out. They're just a depth chart guy that year, and then they're kind of built more for feature, or they just don't pan out in general. So I mean, that's kind of something interesting to see.
Should have went with a wide receiver with that pick, though.
For sure. For sure.
Or any pick.
Literally anything.
Wait, did they even take one? I can't remember.
I remember they took. No, they didn't. But
yeah,
they took
saying anything.
they took a tight end who was a converted fullback. Remember?
Oh yeah, I was reading reports on him, and they're like, he's a pretty good blocker.
Great.
Dude, I just want to say before we go on to the next one is I just, for redraft leagues, dude, I am not really touching anybody on Green Bay's offense just for this year.
Man.
I just because I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. Maybe Devontae Adams, but that's even then, like, I don't even know what they're gonna do with Aaron Rodgers.
You just ask yourself a question.
Yeah. Did you need us for this?
He just said even then, Mike. I don't know.
I don't know, Mike. What do you think, Mike?
Hey, did you just pull the Quinnen Williams where he's like, bless you?
What are you talking about? That's a normal thing.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I feel you. I would touch Devontae Adams, but that's like probably the only one. Like,
yeah, Devontae Adams probably the only one.
Like, Devontae Adams probably have like 140, 150 targets.
Yeah.
Outside of that,
dude had
maybe 160.
He had 120 in 12 games. He's for sure going to get 150, 60 targets.
He might lead the league in targets.
All I'm saying is there's a big question mark on this offense for this year. So
I agree 100%. Yeah, I wonder how many games they win. They won 13 games last year, and their offense was boo-boo sandwich. So.
Yeah, but now they got this fullback tight end blocker.
Well, they play the Lions, who was like, I think you know what? I think the NFC North was like, who could have the worst draft out of all of us? The Bears are like, we can. The Packers are like, nah, we can. The Lions are like, bro, look what we did. We didn't do shit.
Hold my cheese.
Yeah. They're like, hold Jeff Okuda at 3.
The Packers are like, dude, you guys had your bad draft a couple years ago. It's our turn.
And then the Vikings have like 12 picks and just murder the draft.
For sure. I would jump into the last guy right here. Lynn Bowden Jr., out of Kentucky, goes to the Raiders. Won the most versatile player in college football. This guy played quarterback, running back, wide receiver, kick return, punt return. I mean, he's a playmaker. He's a Percy Harvin kind of, like player. He could do it all. So I know you said they have him listed as a wide running back right now, but he's going to play wide receiver too. Could play slot. This is just tricky because, they go draft Ruggs, they draft him, and then they draft Bryan Edwards from South Carolina. So 3 rookie wide receivers. I think, but if there's one guy who's going to touch the ball more than all 3 of them, it's probably going to be Lynn Bowden Jr. just because, he will get some of these rushing attempts and he could, be utilized out of the backfield. I know Josh Jacobs is a perfectly capable pass catcher, but for some reason, they didn't really use him too much in the passing work. I think he only had like 23 catches, give or take.
Yeah.
So not heavily incorporated in the passing offense. So, this could be a guy where, he's, that Jalen Richard kind of role where, maybe he's getting 4 catches a game, a couple carries a game as well. I mean, he's, like I said, most versatile player in college football. If you look at these highlights right here, you see why.
Yeah, So, and it is weird since we'll just cleared up. I hit him up on the side. I was like, Doug, why do you put a W in your name when it's actually Lynn Bowden? It's confusing people like you to your. I called him that till like yesterday because I heard it on ESPN. He's a bum. I don't like him anymore. So honestly,
what's going on with his name?
I'm mad, bro. I thought his name was Lynn Bowden, just like T-Rev until I found out yesterday. Just how you spelled it, bro.
Bow?
It's Bowden.
What do you shoot an arrow with? A bow or a bow?
See what I'm saying? You're right. You're dumb. No, I actually really. This is probably me being a homer. I really wanted to see him go to like the Niners or one of these, or like a Sean McVay type, because from what I read, he actually got recruited to play wide receiver, and then the coach was like, "Yo, we need you at quarterback. Like our quarterback's not that good." So he's like, "All right, cool." Like, so he went back and they ran the Wildcat as you see on film. Like, so he. And this is more of a Tyler thing. He's like a football player. Like he likes guys that, not many guys are just willing to, when you go to college to be a wide receiver, you want to catch touchdowns. You don't want to be like, oh, I don't want to throw. I don't want to do this. Like, so I think it was dope to see him not only convert back to QB, but become the best athlete in the country and like win the award.
You got the giggles over there.
So
I'm laughing because I like Dre's like the way he like talks. Like the coach was like, "Hey, yo, we need you to play quarterback."
Yeah,
and he's like,
he's
"You know
like,
what?
cool.
All right, cool, I'll play."
Hey, did you guys watch the Dennis?
Fuck it.
Did you guys watch the Dennis Rodman thing yesterday? Where
Yeah.
Phil Jackson's like, "You want to play for the Bulls?" He's like, "I don't know, what's up?" He's like, "I don't know, what's up? Fuck it, I'll do it." So
Like what was the one earlier with boys? Yeah, we boys. Nah, we ain't really boys though, but we cool.
we kick it like we go to parties. Yeah. No, I just like scrappy dude. He's fast, and honestly, it's dope. He's on the Raiders, so hopefully it works out for him and he balls. You know what? Hopefully one of these Raiders receivers does their thing. I don't even care if it's Ruggs. We just need somebody here that's good. So
How many
I
receivers?
mean, that'd be fun to watch.
did they
In
draft?
a sense, you
They
got some
draft-
playmakers.
They draft. Well, if you consider him a receiver, which I would like to also, then they got 3. They got him, Brian Edwards, and then Henry Ruggs. So
What did they officially draft him as? A running back? Or
as a running
receiver?
back, they drafted him as a running back. But
He's Percy Harvin.
Yeah.
He can run the ball and he could and line up at receiver.
or even was it UMAC? You said like a Danny Woodhead. He could be like a 6 carries, 40 yards, 4 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown. Like, bro, you're eating every game.
I
Like
missed anyway.
that puts you as if he could do something like that, he's a top 20 wide running back.
Is it crazy to think that he could outperform Henry Ruggs in terms of fantasy?
No, just because he can run the ball.
Just because he's getting utilized in both the passing and the running game?
Like that, no. Just because, I mean, dude is, he runs, I mean, he's at a 4.27 speed, but dude is fast as hell, so.
Yeah, I mean, when Percy Harvin was doing that hybrid role, he was like a top 15 at that. You could play him as I think he had to play him as receiver, but he was still getting the carries and stuff.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
like
he had migraines. That's crazy to think that got you out of the league, but
He's coming back, he says.
yeah, he's trying to come. He's only 31 years old, bro. Is that crazy?
yeah, that's hell young. If you're a 33-year-old.
He got drafted in 09. That's how you know we're getting old. But no, you're right, T. That's a good comparison. A lot of people say Cobb, but I like the Percy Harvin role because he is more like,
He's getting like 5 carries a game and stuff like that.
and he's tougher too. Like Randall Cobb, I can't see him taking that big of a hit. Like he may get up, but I feel
Woodhead
like
would
he's
take
tough.
hits. Woodhead would like bounce off people.
Dude, Woodhead was a
He'd be like,
beast.
don't.
bro.
It's like a ping pong machine in the middle.
What did he win? He won the D2 Heisman, right? Is that what he won?
I can't remember.
Anyway, he's a man.
He won one of those trophies.
And he had like an 8 or 9 year career, man. No, Danny Woodhead for sure. If he can have a Danny Woodhead career, you're good.
Dynasty value.
For sure.
So I mean, yeah.
Oh my god, that was not. There's a microphone in front of you.
Oh no, I said he's coming back.
Oh right. Oh fuck.
Yeah,
you're right.
he's gonna come back.
My fault.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. I said he's back. Bro.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I mean,
All right, yeah, that was it. So there's some rookies right there. Good landing spots, bad landing spots. Okay landing spots.
okay landing spots.
Who's your favorite?
CSC landing spots.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite landing spot?
Out of the people we talked about, or just in general?
Just in general, out of everyone.
I don't know yet.
I'll try and think. You know what? I'll try and think of one that we didn't talk about. I'm gonna say my guy Isaiah Coulter.
Going deep.
Yeah, I'm going deep. Wide receiver. He got drafted by the Texans though, out of URI. Free. If you go look him up, Like his numbers, like
Andre brings up a guy who's not going to get drafted in any leagues. Well, all right.
well, dynasty. I
All right,
mean, you
another
never
guy.
know.
Let's have another guy.
Well, no, I'm just saying. Think about it.
Second favorite guy.
If Will Fuller gets hurt, he's going to step in because he's the only true field stretching one that they have.
All right,
All right, so I'm going to bring up this
That's all.
defensive tackle.
second favorite guy.
Art Cruz, defensive tackles. Michael Pittman Jr. I'll probably say then, since we went off the people we talked about.
For sure. I mean, for me, I think Cam Akers just primed right away to step into, a workhorse role. So that's obviously a good spot. But I think going forward, I really like the Jonathan Taylor one with the Colts because I think Marlon Mack is not there in a year or two. And if you see a guy who's got home run speed behind that line, I think the sky's the limit for him right there.
We got a guy out of Mississippi State.
Art Cruz? Yeah, no. All right. I had another question. Hold on before we get off, but I can't think of it.
You got 5, 4,
3.
Oh, yeah. What would be if you could just have one rookie on your team this year, if you can only hold one, who would it be?
On my fantasy team,
for Dynasty.
No, just redraft.
if I could hold one,
If you could just have one, if you just
For
raise it
rookie?
whole team. Just one rookie.
probably Clyde or Cam Akers.
But think about draft spots, so you know. What do you think?
I was gonna
How would it
Oh,
affect
to
your team?
hold. Oh,
Yeah, like
excuse
no, I'm
me.
saying. So if you take Clyde, you obviously know you're losing like a second or third round pick. I'm saying, but like, who do you think could be the best or the best return on your value as a rookie for this year?
Let me look at this. It's hard to think off a head.
I don't know the rounds yet.
Maybe-
That's kind of a hard question, like, because I don't know where they're really gonna go.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Cedee Lamb.
I'm gonna say Denzel Mims.
It's just the first name he sees.
Bruh, oh,
gonna say,
okay.
I
I
can't
scrolled
I
over
can't
for
scroll
fucking
up
2
this.
minutes.
Hey, Mike,
Scroll
I
up
got you,
anymore.
Mike. I got you, Mike. We can't pull over any further.
Dude, I'm gonna say.
I got you.
Fuck, who went to
I'm
Pittsburgh?
literally scrolling up and down, and then I settle on one.
Mike,
I'm gonna say Chase Claypool.
solid pick, dude. Honestly,
Yeah, you're right. All right, I'm changing my answer.
that's
I'll
We
go
could
Cam
pick him?
Akers. I think, like I said, I just think he's primed right at the gate.
Man, I
mean,
hope
the
so.
guy should see 250 touches. You would think.
Especially like what you're saying about him, the Rams wanting to trade up a bunch to get him. Obviously, they want him. They like him. But I would say receivers just because they last longer in the league.
And then one more. Which one do you think is just gonna flop? Which one out of these rookies you think just not gonna have like a
Ruggs.
Ruggs? I say Jalen Reagor.
Well, I can't say Ruggs, so.
I think Jalen Rager's going to be like a Laquan Treadwell type of career where like nothing happens.
Laviska.
Visca? I
Yeah.
can respect that.
AJ Dillon.
Good call. I can see that too.
And I think before might be gone.
Hey, watch him turn into like Corey Dillon times 2. Like the shit.
It looks like he ate Cordell.
Yeah, just stuffed him right in his quads. Yeah,
More
man.
like Corey Davis.
Oh God. Speaking of, see,
What was
that's
that?
another one. Why
Hey.
didn't the Titans take another receiver, bro? That was one team I would have thought.
Yeah.
Like
It
just
did-
like an insurance policy, right? Like just in case
Why?
Corey
They don't
Davis.
need receivers.
We only have one.
They have AJ Brown, Corey
Corey
Davis, Adam Humphries.
Well, so I'm saying Corey Davis after this year, this is what his 4th year.
Yeah, but they'll probably
They can
fifth-year
franchise
ex-
him.
Yeah.
so?
Because he's a
They'll
first
probably
time.
See, that's
fifth-year.
a fuck, man. You know what? I guess they could do it next year because next year's receiving class is actually going to be
yeah.
Jamar Chase. If you need a receiver, Jamar Chase is a guy, but that's for another day.
All right, let's Trojans
We're going to
up.
talk about 2000. So the
Yeah,
2023
let's wrap this up,
season.
bro.
Yeah, we're good. That was
Thanks
pretty
for
quick.
listening
I
to
can't
the
even breathe.
AVG Fantasy Football
Fucking
Podcast.
nose. Fuck.
This has been the Fantasy Football Consigliaries from the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast. We're here to help you stay clear of losing your fantasy football year. And that's
Don't say it.
Hey, Thursday we're doing the mock, right? Is that the episode too? What we got? Friday, Thursday episode?
Thursday. Well, it comes out Friday.
Friday episode.
Thursday, but Thursday night we'll do it live.
Yeah, our next episode would be
Fuck
doing
it,
a
we're doing it
rookie
live.
Dynasty mock draft.
Yeah.
So just so you guys can kind of gauge where we see or value these players.
Yeah, so
This is
if
my
you're
first Dynasty
interested,
mock draft.
hit our line, and if you want in on it,
Yeah, actually,
man.
yeah. If you wanna watch it with us, you definitely can. So
I'll do it.
But thank you for listening. This has been the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Write us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, man.
Text us if you have any information you want to know about fantasy football. If you need help in your dynasty league on drafting, bang our line, dude. Hit us up.
We got you. We'll consult.
On the AVG Fantasy Football Instagram page. That's avg.fantasyfootball. All those links are down below in the description. Copy paste them if you're listening to audio because I don't think they're clickable there, but they are there either way. Yeah, that's all we got for you, baby.
I'm trying to see what my hair
Maybe.
I'm trying to see what my hair looks like, but the black backdrop.
Yeah, no, it's like not there.
Stupid.
It's like Mike's cup during the draft.
All right, y'all.
Peace out, boys.